For centuries, the earth has whispered its secrets, secrets buried beneath the dust of ancient ruins, hidden in the shadows of long-forgotten temples, and obscured in the dark depths of the oceans. But despite our greatest efforts, some of these mysteries have resisted explanation, challenging our understanding of history itself. How did the ancient Egyptians move massive stones, each weighing as much as an elephant, across the desert with no machinery? What secrets lie within the massive stone circles of Europe, whose purpose still eludes us? Why did the Minoans, an advanced civilization, vanish without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic symbols? From bizarre artifacts that defy logic to entire cities that seem to have been lost in time, there are questions that refuse to be answered. Each one a clue, each one a riddle. The truth is out there, but perhaps it is not as we expect. Perhaps it is even stranger than we could ever imagine. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we embark on a journey into the unexplained. In the heart of the British Museum, beneath soft lights that cast shadows on its time-worn surface, rests a fragment of history that changed everything. A seemingly ordinary slab of granite, worn smooth by centuries of weather and touch. It bears a message that for millennia remained utterly unreadable. This object, the Rosetta Stone, is far more than just an ancient artifact. It is a key, a bridge between the forgotten language of ancient Egypt and the modern world. And yet, the questions surrounding its discovery and its true significance remain tantalizingly elusive. We know that the Rosetta Stone was discovered in 1799 by a French soldier, Pierre-François Bouchard, during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt. It was found near the small Egyptian town of Rosetta, along the Nile Delta, inscribed with a decree issued by King Ptolemy V in 196 BCE. What makes the stone so extraordinary is the presence of three distinct scripts: Ancient Greek, Demotic, a cursive script used by common Egyptians, and hieroglyphs, the sacred script of the pharaohs. The Greek inscription, known to scholars, provided the crucial linguistic link that would ultimately unlock the mysteries of Egyptian hieroglyphs. It was a monumental breakthrough, one that would allow scholars to decode a language that had been silent for nearly 2,000 years. The story of the Rosetta Stone is often told as a triumph of intellectual curiosity. The French scholar Jean-François Champollion in 1822 was the first to successfully decipher the hieroglyphs, opening the door to understanding the rich tapestry of Egyptian civilization. The translation of the stone's inscription revealed the political nature of the decree, a statement of royal benevolence, proclaiming the king's generosity toward the temples and the people of Egypt. A simple royal declaration, but the implications were profound. Yet, despite the Rosetta Stone's central role in unlocking the language of the pharaohs, there is more to its story than meets the eye. Why was the stone created in the first place? What led to the use of three different scripts, including one that had been abandoned for centuries? And why was it preserved so carefully, surviving for over 2,000 years until it was discovered at the turn of the 19th century? Some scholars suggest that the Rosetta Stone's multi-script inscription was meant to ensure that the decree would be understood by a broad audience across the kingdom. However, this theory raises further questions. Why use hieroglyphs, an ancient script that had fallen out of common use for centuries, when other, more widely understood scripts could have sufficed? Could it be that the pharaohs were trying to preserve their sacred language, their connection to the gods, by embedding it in an official, state-sanctioned document? Or was there a deeper, perhaps spiritual purpose for its creation, something that may never be fully understood? The mystery deepens when we consider the journey of the stone itself. After its discovery by the French, it was seized by the British following Napoleon's defeat in Egypt and transported to London, where it was eventually housed in the British Museum. Since then, the stone has become one of the most iconic artifacts in the world. But could its journey from Egypt to England have concealed even more secrets? Could it be that the stone was part of a much larger collection of artifacts, each one containing pieces of a lost story, perhaps intentionally hidden from the world? There are also those who speculate about the stone's role as a message in a much broader sense. The very nature of its inscription, a political decree meant to endure through time, suggests that the ancient Egyptians understood the power of written language to transcend generations. But what if the message encoded in the stone was more than just a political proclamation? Could it have been a deliberate attempt to communicate something more profound, something that might only become clear in the future? Perhaps there was a hidden meaning, a cipher waiting to be unlocked that could change our understanding of ancient Egypt altogether. Some fringe theories even propose that the Rosetta Stone was not simply a tool for communication, but a device for accessing hidden knowledge. Could it be that the stone contains more than just the words of the pharaohs? Some have suggested that the stone might hold clues to lost technologies, forgotten wisdom, or even ancient rituals. While these ideas remain speculative, they serve to remind us that the stone is more than just an archaeological find. It is a symbol of the mysteries of Egypt that still elude us. As we ponder the significance of the Rosetta Stone, one question continues to echo in the corridors of history. How much do we truly understand about the ancient world? While the stone has unlocked the secrets of a long-dead language, what other secrets might still lie hidden within its simple granite surface? Could there be meanings we have yet to uncover, or connections to lost civilizations that remain buried beneath the sands of time? For now, the Rosetta Stone stands as a testament to human curiosity and intellect, its inscriptions deciphered, its secrets largely revealed. Yet, beneath its ancient surface, the mysteries of Egypt continue to whisper, inviting us to look deeper, question further, and wonder, what else remains to be discovered? Nestled in the rolling hills of Oxfordshire, England, lies a curious relic, a giant stone that seems to defy the passage of time and the very logic of its existence. The Uffington Stone, often overlooked in the shadow of its more famous neighbors, holds within it a mystery that continues to baffle archaeologists and historians alike. The stone itself is a towering, weathered monolith standing silently against the elements, its surface etched with faint markings that seem to resonate with a story that has been long forgotten. It sits near the edge of the vast Uffington White Horse, a sprawling prehistoric figure carved into the chalky hillsides. Together, they form an enigmatic duo, silently guarding a secret that has remained hidden for over 3,000 years. At first glance, the Uffington Stone appears to be a simple marker, an ancient boundary stone perhaps, or a religious symbol. But the deeper one looks, the more questions arise. Who placed it here, and why? Theories abound, but certainty remains elusive. The stone's most striking feature is its carvings. On the surface, we see a series of intricate grooves, some almost imperceptible, others more deeply etched into the rock. These markings do not appear to correspond with any known script or symbolic system, making them a peculiar puzzle for archaeologists and linguists. While some suggest the carvings could be a form of early writing, akin to proto-cuneiform, no definitive link has been established to any known writing system from the time. Adding to the intrigue is the proximity of the Uffington Stone to the Uffington White Horse, a vast geoglyph stretching across the hills in the form of a stylized horse. Carved into the earth, the horse is a striking figure, so large that it can only be fully appreciated from above, perhaps even from the sky, its full shape hidden from those who stand too close. It is widely believed to date from the early Bronze Age, around 3,000 years ago, though its exact purpose and meaning remain subjects of debate. Was it a symbol of power, a religious offering, or perhaps a celestial marker? The connection between the White Horse and the Uffington Stone raises even more questions. Could the stone have been a companion to the horse, a physical manifestation of a hidden meaning or ritual? Some scholars propose that the stone was used as a marker for ritualistic purposes. Situated so close to the White Horse, it may have had a role in the ceremonies performed at the site, a place where early Britons gathered to honor deities or celestial bodies. Could the carvings represent a form of ancient knowledge, perhaps passed down through generations, relating to astronomy, the stars, or even the movements of the planets? Given the proximity to the White Horse, some speculate that the stone may have acted as a guidepost for observers of the night sky, marking a point of cosmic alignment. But could there be more to the stone's origins? Some fringe theories suggest that the Uffington Stone may be a remnant of a much older civilization, one that predates our understanding of the British Isles. Was it part of a lost culture? Perhaps one with advanced knowledge of geometry, astronomy, or even mathematics. The very design of the White Horse and its alignment with the stone hints at a profound understanding of the natural world. Could it be that this place was a meeting point for ancient civilizations, a hub of knowledge that has since been obscured by the sands of time? There are also those who believe that the stone and the horse are more than just human creations, that they may have been designed with an almost supernatural intent. Some have even suggested that the White Horse itself is a symbol of ancient, otherworldly forces. Could it be that the stone was placed here as a reminder of a time when humans interacted with beings beyond our understanding? The concept of the stone as a marker for something otherworldly, perhaps a gateway or a threshold, is an intriguing possibility, though far from proven. Despite these theories, much remains speculative. No one knows for certain the true purpose of the Uffington Stone, nor can we be certain about the culture that created it. Archaeologists and historians have yet to uncover definitive evidence linking it to a specific group of people, though many suggest it was created by the Celts or a pre-Celtic Bronze Age civilization. And while the carvings may appear deliberate, they may simply be the product of natural weathering or the work of later societies, drawn to the site as it became a part of local lore and legend. Yet the stone endures, a silent testament to the ancient world and its mysteries. Its markings may never be fully understood, and the purpose it served may never be revealed. But perhaps that is the most profound mystery of all, the knowledge that some answers are simply not meant to be known. As the wind blows across the chalky hills of Uffington, carrying with it the echoes of centuries past, one can't help but wonder, how many more such stones, how many more hidden markers remain scattered across the landscape, waiting to be discovered? What other ancient relics are still out there, their mysteries waiting to be unraveled, if we are only patient enough to search for them? In the quiet hills of central Italy, beneath the ruins of ancient cities and the dense canopies of olive trees, lies a linguistic mystery that has intrigued scholars for centuries. The Etruscan language, once spoken by a powerful civilization that flourished long before Rome rose to dominance, is one of the most enigmatic and puzzling languages in human history. While the Etruscans themselves vanished from history more than 2,000 years ago, their written legacy endures, carved into stone, painted on pottery, and etched into the fabric of a society lost to time. Today, we can still find traces of this language scattered across the Italian peninsula in the form of inscriptions that appear on tombs, pottery, and walls. Some of the most famous examples can be found in the Etruscan cities of Tarquinia and Cerveteri, where elaborate tomb paintings depict not only the afterlife beliefs of the Etruscans, but also their written words. These inscriptions, ranging from simple names to full texts, offer tantalizing glimpses into the culture of a civilization that predated Rome by centuries. But as much as we have uncovered, the full meaning of the Etruscan language remains a mystery. Unlike most ancient languages, Etruscan does not belong to any known language family. It is not related to Greek, Latin, or any of the Indo-European languages that dominate the ancient world. In fact, it seems to defy all attempts at classification. Linguists have compared it to various other languages, including Basque and languages from the Caucasus region, but no definitive connection has ever been established. This linguistic isolation is what makes Etruscan so fascinating and so frustrating. While we have made progress in deciphering certain elements of Etruscan texts, much of the language remains beyond our grasp. Some words have been translated with relative certainty, usually those that refer to everyday objects or people. But when it comes to understanding larger phrases or complex sentences, we are still left with an impenetrable code. For example, the famous Liber Linteus, a linen book containing Etruscan texts, is the longest surviving example of the language, yet its full meaning remains a subject of intense debate. Scholars have long attempted to unlock the mystery of the Etruscan language using a variety of methods, but progress has been slow. One of the primary tools used in the decipherment of ancient languages, bilingual inscriptions, does not exist for Etruscan. The Rosetta Stone, with its Greek inscription that allowed scholars to decode Egyptian hieroglyphs, has no counterpart for the Etruscan language. This lack of a key to the language has left us with little more than educated guesses about the meaning of many of the inscriptions. Some believe that Etruscan was a language isolated from all others, the last remnant of a prehistoric tongue that had been spoken in the Italian peninsula long before the rise of Rome. But others speculate that it may have been influenced by or linked to other ancient languages. One theory suggests that the Etruscan language could have been part of an early European language family that was later displaced by the expansion of Indo-European speakers. Could the Etruscans have been the remnants of an earlier, pre-Indo-European civilization? Perhaps their language was the last echo of a culture lost to the mists of time. There are also more fringe theories that suggest the Etruscan language may be more than just a linguistic puzzle. It could be a cipher, a form of coded communication. Some have proposed that the language was intentionally designed to obscure its true meaning, perhaps as a form of secrecy or ritual. Could the Etruscans have used their language as a form of protection, preserving knowledge that they wanted to keep hidden from the outside world? Or was it simply a matter of the language being so ancient that it left no traceable roots for future generations to connect with? Despite the many theories, no one has been able to fully crack the code of the Etruscan language. Modern linguists and archaeologists continue to study the available texts, hoping for a breakthrough, but the challenge remains immense. The surviving inscriptions are often fragmentary, incomplete, and difficult to interpret. Even when we think we understand a word or phrase, it is often unclear whether it is being used in the same way as we would expect in a modern language. There is also the question of whether we will ever truly understand the full breadth of Etruscan knowledge. Much of their culture was oral, with traditions passed down through generations in spoken form rather than written texts. As a result, many aspects of their beliefs, their history, and their way of life may have been lost to time, never to be recovered. Perhaps the most important texts, those that would have offered a window into their worldview, are simply gone, leaving only fragments behind. As we consider the Etruscan language, we are faced with a question that remains unanswered. What might we have lost in the silence of this forgotten tongue? While we continue to uncover pieces of the puzzle, the greater mystery of the Etruscan people and their language remains tantalizingly out of reach. What could their language have told us about their society, their values, and their relationship to the world around them? And perhaps, more importantly, what other ancient languages, still hidden in the dust of lost civilizations, might still be waiting for us to discover them? High in the jungles of Guatemala, where the dense canopy stretches over ancient cities and hidden temples, A peculiar discovery has sparked the imaginations of archaeologists and historians alike. Buried beneath layers of soil and centuries of neglect, a stone key was unearthed, an object that, at first glance, appears as ordinary as any other artifact. But the more one examines it, the more questions arise. What purpose did this strange object serve, and what mysteries might it hold about the civilization that created it? The stone key, found in a remote location near the ancient Mayan city of Tikal, is a surprisingly well-crafted artifact, measuring several inches in length. Its surface is smooth and worn, as though it had been handled by many hands over the years. The key's design is simple, but elegant, its shape evocative of the keys we might use today, with a shaft and a distinctive head, though the size and proportions are unlike anything we might expect to find in a modern context. What immediately strikes most researchers is the fact that this object does not appear to fit within the known material culture of the Maya. While the Maya were known for their intricate artistry and advanced architectural skills, keys were not a part of their established symbolic or functional objects. Instead, the Maya used a complex system of locks and mechanisms, but there is no clear evidence of them ever crafting something resembling this stone key. Its existence raises several pressing questions. Was this key part of a much earlier civilization, perhaps one that predated the Maya? Could it be a remnant of a different culture entirely, one with which the Maya had contact but we have no evidence of? Or was the stone key, in fact, something entirely different? A ceremonial object, a symbolic token, or even something with a supernatural significance? Theories about the stone key's purpose abound, but no consensus has emerged. Some suggest that it was used in the same way as the ceremonial keys found in other ancient cultures, perhaps as a symbol of power, control, or access to sacred spaces. In many ancient societies, keys were not just functional tools. They were often imbued with deep symbolic meaning, representing the unlocking of divine knowledge or entrance into the hidden realms of the gods. Could the stone key have been part of a Mayan ritual, representing access to secret knowledge or a gateway to the underworld, as some other Mayan artifacts suggest? The idea that this key was a metaphorical or spiritual key, rather than a functional one, is certainly plausible, given the Maya's complex relationship with religion, symbolism, and the supernatural. There are also those who believe that the key could be a part of an architectural mechanism, perhaps used in a lock or a door within one of the many abandoned temples that dot the landscape of Tikal and other Mayan cities. The Maya were skilled engineers, constructing buildings that were not only beautiful but often filled with hidden chambers and complex passageways. Could this key have been part of a long-forgotten system of locks, used to secure sacred spaces? This theory, while compelling, faces a significant challenge. There is no evidence of any actual locks or mechanisms associated with the stone key, leaving the function of the object largely speculative. The mystery deepens when considering the possibility that the key could be much older than the Maya themselves. Some researchers have suggested that it could be a relic of a much earlier civilization, perhaps one lost to history, older than even the Olmecs, the precursor to the Maya. The suggestion that the key might be a remnant of an ancient, forgotten culture adds another layer of intrigue. Was this civilization more advanced than we've given them credit for? Did they possess knowledge or technology far ahead of their time? And if so, what happened to them? Were they erased from history by natural disaster, invasion, or some other catastrophic event? Another, even more speculative theory points to the idea that the stone key may have been a gift or a tool from an external, perhaps even otherworldly source. This theory suggests that the key might not have been created by human hands at all, but rather represent something that transcends human understanding. Could the Maya, with their intricate astronomical knowledge and profound spiritual beliefs, have had contact with beings from beyond the stars. Could this key be a symbol of that contact, an artifact left behind by those who came before? While this idea remains firmly in the realm of speculation, it is a reminder of the ongoing mysteries that surround the ancient world. Despite all of these theories, one fact remains indisputable. The stone key is an object that refuses to be neatly classified. Its purpose, its origins, and its meaning continue to elude us. It stands as a silent witness to the past, a fragment of a civilization whose full story we may never understand. The discovery of the stone key in Guatemala leaves us with more questions than answers. Was it a functional object, a ceremonial relic, or a symbol of something greater? What does it tell us about the civilization that created it, and what hidden knowledge might still lie buried in the jungles of Central America, waiting to be uncovered? As we continue to explore the mysteries of the ancient world, the stone key serves as a reminder of how much we still have to learn, how much we have yet to unlock. What other artifacts, like this one, remain hidden in the shadows, waiting to be discovered and understood? In the heart of China, buried within the verdant hills and expansive fields, an extraordinary discovery was made, one that would raise more questions than it could answer. A stone tool, carefully crafted and polished, emerged from the layers of earth, seemingly out of place in the timeline of history. At first glance, it appears to be a simple implement, perhaps a weapon or a tool for daily use. Yet the closer one examines it, the more enigmatic it becomes. This is no ordinary stone tool. It belongs to a time and culture whose understanding of craftsmanship and technology may have been far more advanced than we realize. The tool itself is made from a dark, dense stone that has been meticulously shaped. Its edges are sharp and purposeful, yet the precision of its construction suggests a level of sophistication not typically associated with early Bronze Age societies. The tool has been dated to around 3,000 years ago, a period when the early Chinese were transitioning from the Neolithic to the Bronze Age. During this time, the Chinese were beginning to develop their first metalworking techniques, casting intricate bronze vessels, and creating the foundations for a civilization that would eventually dominate East Asia. But what makes this particular stone tool so fascinating is the mystery surrounding its construction. While stone tools were commonplace during this era, the material and techniques used to create this tool suggest a level of knowledge that doesn't align with what we know about Bronze Age Chinese technology. Stone tools in this period were usually made using basic flint knapping techniques or by grinding down natural stones, a labor-intensive process that required rudimentary tools. However, the quality of craftsmanship seen in this particular piece seems almost out of place. Its smooth surface and sharp edges indicate an understanding of material properties that was beyond the typical capabilities of the time. Was this an anomaly? A one-off artifact created by an exceptionally skilled artisan? Or does it point to something deeper, something more significant about the technological development of the ancient Chinese? Was this tool part of a larger system of lost knowledge, one that was either abandoned or forgotten over time? These are questions that have puzzled archaeologists for years. One theory suggests that this tool might not have been intended for any mundane, everyday task at all, but rather for a specific ceremonial or ritual purpose. The ancient Chinese, particularly during the Bronze Age, were deeply connected to their spiritual and religious beliefs. Could this tool have had a symbolic or ritualistic function? Perhaps it was not a tool in the traditional sense, but rather a representation of power or status, crafted to signify the authority of the individual who wielded it. Could it have been used in religious rites, where its mysterious, almost otherworldly precision served to connect the material world with the spiritual one? Another possibility is that this stone tool was part of a larger technological framework, a piece of a forgotten system of advanced tools that were lost to history. The Bronze Age marked the dawn of metallurgy in China, with the introduction of bronze tools, weapons, and ceremonial items. It is possible that this stone tool was used in combination with metal tools, possibly in a way that has been lost to time. Could it have been a precursor to the more advanced technology that followed? A transitional artifact linking the Stone and Bronze Ages? If so, what does it reveal about the technological trajectory of early Chinese civilization? The most intriguing theory, however, suggests that this tool might be evidence of an even more ancient technological knowledge, one that predates the Bronze Age entirely. Some fringe theories propose that certain cultures, possibly even those lost to history, had access to advanced technologies or techniques that were later forgotten or suppressed. Could this stone tool be a relic of a civilization that existed long before the Bronze Age? A society whose knowledge of materials and craftsmanship was far beyond what we know of ancient China? Of course, the idea of such lost civilizations is speculative at best, with little concrete evidence to support it. But it does beg the question, could there have been ancient cultures whose advanced knowledge was wiped from the historical record, either through natural disaster, conflict, or simply the erosion of time? The tool's highly refined construction and unusual design could point to an earlier, more advanced phase of human ingenuity, one that was never fully realized or documented. As we consider the possibilities, it becomes clear that the stone tool raises more questions than answers. Its discovery challenges our understanding of the technological and cultural development of ancient China. Was it simply a highly advanced tool for its time, or is it a clue to something much older, a piece of a forgotten story that we have yet to uncover? The more we learn about ancient cultures and the tools they left behind, the more we are reminded of how much we still don't know. Every discovery, every fragment of evidence brings us one step closer to understanding the past, but it also opens up new mysteries, new questions that remain just out of reach. The stone tool from Bronze Age China, with its enigmatic precision and its uncertain origins, is a reminder that the history of human civilization is still full of hidden chapters. What else might be waiting, buried beneath the earth, just beyond our grasp? And how many more lost technologies or forgotten cultures have yet to reveal themselves to us? In the quiet, rolling hills of the Loire Valley in central France, amidst vineyards and ancient forests, a peculiar artifact rests quietly in the earth. This is the Loire Stone Disc, a relic that has intrigued archaeologists and historians for decades. At first glance, it appears to be a simple, unassuming disc, measuring about 2 feet in diameter and made of a smooth gray stone. But upon closer inspection, the stone's true complexity becomes apparent, raising more questions than it answers. The disc was first uncovered in the late 19th century during an excavation for a new road. It was found buried deep beneath layers of earth, in a location that had previously been home to a variety of human settlements, ancient tribes, medieval villages, and even early Roman outposts. The disc's design is striking, with intricate carvings on its surface, resembling patterns that suggest both artistry and functionality. Its surface is divided into concentric rings, each with geometric symbols and shapes that appear to follow a specific order, but the meaning of these symbols remains entirely unknown. At first, archaeologists assumed the disc was a product of the ancient Celtic peoples who once inhabited this region. The Celts were known for their skilled craftsmanship, and their symbolic art often incorporated complex circular motifs. However, as more was uncovered about the disc, doubts began to surface. The material used in its construction, an unusually durable type of stone not native to the Loire Valley, suggested that it may have originated from a distant location. But why was this object buried so deeply, and why was it created with such meticulous care? One of the most puzzling aspects of the Loire stone disc is its apparent age. Initial estimates placed its creation somewhere around 3,000 years ago, a time when the Celts had not yet emerged as a distinct culture. Yet, more recent studies suggest the disc could be much older, perhaps even from the late Neolithic period or early Bronze Age. If this is the case, then its design might predate the Celts by millennia, raising the possibility that the disc was created by an entirely different civilization. The question then becomes, who made this disc and why? Some have speculated that the disc was a ceremonial object, possibly used in rituals or religious practices. Its circular shape and the seemingly deliberate arrangement of its symbols hint at some sort of cosmological or astronomical significance. Could it be that the disc was used to track the cycles of the moon or the movements of the stars, as many ancient cultures were known to do? The symbols etched into its surface could represent celestial bodies or cosmic events, encoded in a language that we have yet to decipher. The disc may have functioned as a kind of calendar, or perhaps as an instrument for divination, a tool used by ancient priests or shamans to interpret the will of the gods. Another theory suggests that the Loire stone disc could have been a type of ancient map. Some researchers point to the concentric rings and geometric patterns as a possible representation of the natural landscape, a symbolic rendering of the surrounding mountains, rivers, or stars. Could the disc have been a navigational tool used by ancient travelers to mark important locations or to guide them on long journeys? If so, how did these ancient peoples possess the knowledge of such advanced mapping techniques, especially when compared to what we know about other ancient civilizations? Then, there are the more speculative theories. Some have suggested that the disc is a kind of relic from a lost civilization, one that predated the known ancient cultures of Europe. This lost culture might have possessed knowledge or technology far beyond what we typically associate with the Bronze Age or even the Neolithic period. The precision of the carvings, along with the enigmatic symbols, could hint at an advanced understanding of mathematics, geometry, or astronomy that was wiped from history. Could the disc be a fragment of a far more ancient and forgotten culture, one whose knowledge was lost to time? Adding to the mystery is the fact that the Loire stone disc is not the only such object to be found in this region. Over the years, similar discs have been uncovered in various parts of Europe, each one bearing similar symbols, but with slight variations in design. Some believe these discs were part of a larger network of communication, tools, or even rituals that spread across early European societies. But if these discs were created by different peoples at different times, what unites them? Could they have been passed down through generations, preserving knowledge that transcended individual cultures? Despite numerous studies, the true meaning of the Loire stone disc remains elusive. Scholars continue to debate its origins and function, but no definitive answers have been found. Its purpose, whether it was a ceremonial object, a map, or something else entirely, continues to be the subject of intense speculation. The Loire stone disc stands as a quiet reminder that not all of history has been written down in books or carved into monuments. Some stories, some pieces of knowledge, remain hidden in the earth, waiting to be uncovered. But for now, the disc keeps its secrets nestled in the soil of the Loire Valley. What might it be trying to tell us? And what ancient truths might still be waiting to be uncovered from the depths of time? As the earth shifts and the winds blow across the French countryside, one can't help but wonder how many more ancient objects, like this stone disc, remain buried, waiting for the right moment to reveal their hidden knowledge. And what will we learn when we finally unlock their mysteries? On the island of Crete, amid the sun-soaked ruins of the ancient palace of Knossos, lies a civilization that once flourished with a brilliance that still captivates us today. The Minoans, as they are now known, were an advanced and enigmatic society that left behind grand palaces, exquisite artwork, and artifacts that speak of a world lost to history. But despite their achievements, Much about the Minoan civilization remains a mystery. Its rise, its decline, and the exact nature of its influence on the ancient world. The remains of the Minoan palaces are unlike anything else in the ancient Mediterranean. Knossos, the largest of these, sprawls across the hills of Crete, its labyrinthine halls and intricate frescoes offering a glimpse into the lives of a people who lived over 3,000 years ago. The palace's elaborate architecture, featuring multi-story buildings, advanced drainage systems, and decorative frescoes that depicted vibrant scenes of nature and human activity, suggests a society that was not only highly organized but also deeply connected to both art and the natural world. But there is something unsettling about the Minoans. Despite their technological sophistication and their extensive trade networks, which stretched as far as Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Aegean, we know very little about them as a people. Their language, known as Linear A, has never been fully deciphered, and there is no known record of their name. Minoan, as we call them today, is a term coined much later, based on the mythical king Minos. The mystery begins with the lack of written records. The Minoans, despite their advanced culture, left behind no definitive historical records or literary works that explain their origins, their beliefs, or their way of life. What we know of them comes primarily from archaeology, and much of it is tantalizingly incomplete. Linear A, the script used by the Minoans, has yet to be deciphered, and without it, we are left to interpret their culture through the objects and remnants they left behind, fragments of pottery, frescoes, and tools. One of the most striking features of Minoan culture is their art. The frescoes, some of the finest surviving examples of ancient painting, depict lively scenes of bull leaping, nature, and religious rituals. These vibrant depictions suggest a people who were closely connected to their environment and who practiced rituals involving animals, fertility, and perhaps even the sea. One of the most famous images is of a bull leaping ceremony, where figures appear to vault over bulls, a symbolic act perhaps of mastery over the untamed forces of nature. But why this particular ritual? And what did the bull represent to the Minoans? Strength, fertility, or something more mystical? The Minoans were also skilled in trade, as evidenced by the many artifacts found in distant lands. Their influence spread throughout the Aegean, and they maintained trade relations with Egypt, Anatolia, and even the distant shores of the Levant. Yet, despite their extensive network, the Minoans remain elusive. How did a people so prosperous, so advanced in their artistry and commerce, leave behind no written record of their achievements? Could it be that their culture was simply not interested in recording its history? Or is there something about the Minoans that we have yet to understand? Then there is the question of the Minoan collapse. Around 1450 BCE, the once flourishing Minoan civilization began to decline, and by the end of the 12th century BCE, it had virtually disappeared. The causes of this collapse have been widely debated. Some scholars suggest that the eruption of the nearby Thera volcano, modern-day Santorini, one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in recorded history, may have caused catastrophic damage to Minoan settlements and trade routes. The eruption likely sent massive tsunamis crashing into Crete, disrupting the Minoan way of life and perhaps even contributing to a widespread societal collapse. Yet, the evidence for this theory remains inconclusive. While the eruption could have played a role in the Minoan decline, it is also possible that other factors, such as internal strife, invasion, or changing trade patterns, contributed to the fall of this once great civilization. Some fringe theories suggest that the Minoans were not merely a victim of natural disaster, but were in fact wiped out by a more mysterious force. Could there have been an invasion, possibly by the Mycenaeans, who later rose to prominence in Greece? Or might the Minoans have suffered from some form of cultural or technological stagnation that led to their eventual decline? Another theory proposes that the Minoans may have been affected by a catastrophic series of natural events, earthquakes, floods, or famines, that overwhelmed their society. Was the collapse of the Minoans a gradual decline, or did they suffer a sudden and violent end? Even more intriguing is the possibility that the Minoans were not entirely lost to history. Some researchers suggest that the Minoans might have survived in some form through their connections to the ancient Greek world. Could the Greeks have inherited certain Minoan traditions, including their advanced knowledge of the seas, their artistic skills, and their religious practices? Did the Minoans become the foundation for the later Greek civilization, with their influence subtly woven into the fabric of classical Greek culture? Despite the many theories, the full story of the Minoans remains a mystery. The lack of written records, the suddenness of their decline, and the absence of definitive answers leave us with a tantalizing puzzle. Who were the Minoans? What drove their rise and fall? And why did such a powerful civilization leave behind so few traces of their existence? As we continue to explore the ruins of Crete, the frescoes, the pottery, and the enigmatic script of Linear A, we are reminded of how much we still have yet to uncover about this fascinating civilization. The Minoans may have been lost to time, but their legacy endures, hidden in the depths of the past. What secrets remain buried beneath the ruins of Knossos, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? And what might we learn when we finally unlock the mysteries of the Minoan civilization? Manitoulin Island, located in the vast, quiet waters of Lake Huron in Ontario, Canada, is a place of natural beauty, steeped in the legends and traditions of the indigenous peoples who have lived there for centuries. But beyond its serene landscapes and sacred sites, the island holds a mystery that has confounded archaeologists, historians, and indigenous communities alike: the carved stones of Manitoulin Island. These stones, scattered across the island, are adorned with strange and intricate markings, symbols, and images that no one can fully explain. The stones are scattered in various locations across the island, found in isolated spots near ancient burial grounds and ceremonial sites. Some are large boulders, their surfaces etched with precise, deep carvings. Others are smaller stones, with delicate incised patterns. The carvings range from abstract symbols to more recognizable forms, such as figures resembling human beings, animals, and even celestial bodies. Despite years of study, no one has definitively explained the purpose or meaning of these carvings, leaving the stones wrapped in mystery. The carvings themselves are remarkable. The shapes are unlike those of typical indigenous art from the region. The precision and style suggest a level of skill that seems to transcend the traditional forms of carving and engraving found among early Native American cultures. The designs often resemble those seen in much older ancient cultures, such as those of the ancient Egyptians or the Olmec of Mesoamerica. Yet there is no direct connection or evidence linking the Minoans or the Olmec to the indigenous peoples of the Great Lakes region. Some of the carvings appear to be representations of animals, but the forms are stylized in a way that seems symbolic rather than realistic. There are images of snakes, turtles, and birds, creatures that are significant in many Native American cultures as symbols of spiritual transformation, protection, and the natural world. Other carvings seem more abstract: concentric circles, spiral motifs, and linear patterns that evoke a sense of mystery and otherworldliness. What were the original creators of these carvings trying to communicate? Were these stones used in religious rituals, as tools for divination, or perhaps as markers for something deeper, something more connected to the spirit world? Theories about the origins of the carved stones abound, but none have been able to provide conclusive answers. Some suggest that the carvings could be the work of the Anishinaabe people, the indigenous group most closely associated with the island. According to oral tradition, the Anishinaabe people have lived on Manitoulin Island for centuries, and the symbols on the stones may have had ceremonial or spiritual significance to their ancestors. the shapes and forms might represent key aspects of Anishinaabe cosmology, reflecting their relationship with the land, the animals, and the forces of nature. But if these stones were created by the Anishinaabe, why do they appear so different from other known forms of indigenous art in the region? Another theory proposes that the stones were the work of an ancient pre-Columbian civilization, one whose influence reached beyond what we typically associate with early North American cultures. Some speculate that the carvings were created by travelers from the ancient Old World, such as the Celts or the Norse, who may have ventured to the shores of North America long before European exploration officially began. While there is some evidence of early European contact with the indigenous peoples of North America, such as Viking settlements in Newfoundland, the idea that the carvings on Manitoulin Island were created by these early visitors is purely speculative. Could these ancient symbols be the remnants of a forgotten culture that once inhabited the island? Or were they simply the product of a much older indigenous tradition that has since been lost to time? Perhaps the most intriguing possibility is that the stones are tied to an ancient, lost form of communication or knowledge, something that transcends the usual boundaries of culture and time. Could the carvings be a form of proto-writing, an early attempt to encode language and meaning through symbols? In ancient cultures around the world, symbols were often used not only to convey religious or cultural ideas, but also to encode information about astronomical events, geographic locations, and even hidden knowledge passed down through generations. Could the markings on the stones of Manitoulin Island represent a similar attempt to capture something that was once central to the people who lived there? There is also the possibility that the stones served as more than just a means of communication. They could have been used as tools in a form of ritual or ceremony, marking places of spiritual significance or serving as symbols of power or knowledge. Some suggest that the stones may have been connected to ancient practices of astronomy or agriculture, aligning with celestial events like solstices or lunar phases. Others believe the stones were used for ceremonial purposes, with the markings representing gods, ancestors, or spirit beings that the ancient peoples sought to honor or communicate with. Despite these various theories, the true purpose and origin of the Manitoulin Island carved stones remain elusive. As more stones are discovered, the mystery only deepens. What did the people who created these stones intend to convey? And why were the stones left behind in such a way that their meanings remain hidden from us today? Could the answers be buried in the oral traditions of the Anishinaabe people, waiting to be unearthed? Or have the stones themselves been waiting for the right moment to reveal their secrets, to tell the story of a people, a culture, and a time long past? As the winds sweep across Manitoulin Island, carrying the scent of the waters and the whispers of the past, one can't help but wonder, what other mysteries lie hidden beneath the soil, waiting to be discovered? And what stories remain to be told by the stones that have stood the test of time, holding their secrets in silence? Deep in the heart of France, nestled in the quiet rolling hills of the Dordogne region, lies a discovery that has puzzled archaeologists for over a century. It is known simply as the stone core, a strange and enigmatic object that challenges our understanding of prehistoric technology and craftsmanship. At first glance, the stone core appears to be a crude, unremarkable piece of stone, yet when examined closely, its complexity and precision become undeniable. This seemingly humble artifact has the potential to unlock secrets about the early human mind and their mastery over materials, but its true purpose remains elusive. The stone core was discovered in 1860 during an excavation in the caves of the Vézère Valley, a region famous for its wealth of Paleolithic archaeological sites. The discovery was made by a French archaeologist named Édouard Lartet, who was exploring the caves that had been used by early humans for shelter and ceremonial purposes. What he found was a small, cylindrical piece of stone about the size of a human fist. At first, it appeared to be a simple tool or fragment, something that might be discarded or used as part of a larger artifact. But a closer examination revealed something far more intriguing. The stone was expertly carved, with intricate grooves and patterns etched into its surface, patterns that seemed to follow a specific design, rather than being random marks made by a careless hand. The stone core's surface is smooth to the touch, with sharp edges that suggest it had been purposefully shaped. The grooves and carvings seem deliberate, as if they were created using tools that were far more advanced than what was available to early humans at the time. Some of the patterns resemble symbols or signs, though their meaning remains unclear. The stone's shape, too, is curious. Its cylindrical form suggests that it may have been a central piece of a larger object, perhaps part of a mechanism or a tool. But what was the purpose of these carvings? Was the stone core part of an ancient tool, or could it have served a different, more symbolic function? What makes the stone core so baffling is that it doesn't fit into any of the known categories of prehistoric artifacts. In the Paleolithic period, early humans were skilled at crafting tools from stone, bone, and wood, but most of these tools were functional in nature: axes, scrapers, and knives for hunting, gathering, and survival. The stone core, however, is unlike any of these practical tools. Its unusual shape and precise carvings suggest that it may have been created for something other than mere utility. Some researchers believe it could have been a ceremonial object, a talisman or amulet used in ritual practices. The presence of symbolic carvings could indicate that the object held some kind of spiritual or cultural significance, possibly related to the belief systems of the people who created it. Another possibility is that the stone core was part of an early form of communication, a primitive form of writing or record-keeping. The patterns etched into its surface might represent a form of proto-writing, a precursor to the more advanced writing systems that would emerge thousands of years later. Some scholars have suggested that the symbols might correspond to early astronomical observations, marking the passage of time or celestial events. In the Paleolithic era, many cultures had a deep connection to the stars and the cycles of nature, so it is not out of the question that the stone core might have been used to track these events. But if it was a form of early writing or record-keeping, then why is there no other evidence of a writing system from this period? Another theory posits that the stone core was part of a much more complex tool, a piece of a larger mechanism that has been lost to history. Some speculate that the carvings on the stone might represent an early form of gear or mechanical system, predating the more sophisticated tools and devices that emerged in later civilizations. Could the stone core have been part of a machine that performed a specific task, such as grinding or shaping other materials? If so, how did the people of the Paleolithic era possess the knowledge to create such a tool? And why have no other examples of this type of technology been found? One of the more fringe theories suggests that the stone core is evidence of an ancient, lost civilization that possessed knowledge far beyond what we typically associate with prehistoric humans. According to this theory, the stone could be a remnant of a culture whose technological achievements were erased by time, either through catastrophe or the passage of millennia. Could the stone core be a piece of a forgotten civilization, one that existed long before the rise of ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, and whose knowledge was lost or deliberately hidden from history? While this theory remains speculative, it does highlight the mystery of the object and the unanswered questions surrounding it. Despite all the theories, the true purpose of the stone core remains a mystery. Was it a tool, a ceremonial object, or something far more complex? And how did its creators possess the knowledge and skill to carve such intricate patterns into a stone with such precision? The more we study the object, the more it seems to slip further from our understanding, leaving us with only questions and fragments of possible answers. As we continue to search for answers, the stone core stands as a testament to the complexity of early human culture and craftsmanship. Its exact purpose may remain hidden, but its existence speaks to the possibility that early humans were capable of far more than we often give them credit for. And as we dig deeper into the past, we are reminded of how much we still have to learn about the people who walked the earth long before us. What other hidden artifacts and lost knowledge remain, waiting to be uncovered, waiting for the right moment to reveal their secrets? The stone core is just one of many puzzles from our distant past, and the answers may still lie buried in the sands of time. Off the coast of the small island of Bimini in the Bahamas, beneath the turquoise waves of the Atlantic Ocean, lies an underwater structure that has baffled explorers, archaeologists, and historians alike for decades. Known as the Bimini Road, this submerged formation is a series of large rectangular stone blocks arranged in a curious, linear pattern, stretching nearly half a mile along the ocean floor. The stones are aligned with precision, their flat surfaces suggesting that they were placed deliberately rather than being the result of natural geological processes. The discovery of the Bimini Road dates back to 1968, when a team of local fishermen, while navigating the waters near North Bimini Island, noticed a series of large, flat stones protruding from the seafloor at a depth of about 15 feet. What they initially thought was just a natural formation turned out to be something much more puzzling. Upon closer inspection, the stones appeared to form a straight path, as if laid out in rows, like the remnants of a road or causeway. The stones were not randomly scattered. They seemed to have been deliberately placed, suggesting that this was no mere geological oddity. The initial excitement surrounding the Bimini Road led to further investigation, with both amateur and professional divers exploring the site. Some noted the near-perfect alignment of the stones, which seemed to create a road-like structure running parallel to the shoreline. The uniformity of the stones, their rectangular shape, and their smooth surfaces raised questions. Could this be the remains of an ancient man-made structure? And if so, who built it, and why? The mainstream explanation offered by many geologists and archaeologists is that the Bimini Road is a natural formation, likely the result of underwater sedimentation and erosion. Known as a marine terrace, these formations occur when seawater erodes certain types of rock in a consistent pattern, creating a grid-like arrangement that may resemble human construction. The stone blocks, according to this theory, are simply pieces of limestone that have been shaped by the forces of nature over thousands of years. However, the more one examines the Bimini Road, the more difficult it becomes to dismiss the possibility that this structure could be something far more intentional. The precision of the stone placement, the straightness of the alignment, and the size of the blocks all suggest a level of craftsmanship and purpose that seems out of place for a natural formation. Some blocks even appear to be shaped in a manner that mimics the style of ancient stone construction, hinting at a level of skill and technology that could point to an advanced civilization. The idea that the Bimini Road could be the remnants of a man-made structure is not new. In fact, some believe it could be evidence of a long-lost civilization, one that predated the ancient cultures we are familiar with, possibly even going back to the mythical Atlantis. The idea that the road could be part of an ancient submerged city, one that was lost to the sea in a catastrophic event, has captured the imaginations of many. Some have speculated that the Bimini Road could be the remains of a grand causeway, connecting a once thriving metropolis that has since been swallowed by the ocean. This theory is largely influenced by the writings of Plato, who famously described the rise and fall of Atlantis in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. According to Plato, Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization that existed over 9,000 years before his time. The island was said to be rich in natural resources, and its people were known for their advanced engineering and architectural skills. But, as the story goes, Atlantis fell out of favor with the gods and was eventually destroyed by a massive cataclysmic event, sinking beneath the waves in a single day and night of disaster. Could the Bimini Road be a remnant of this lost civilization? Supporters of this theory point to the alignment of the stones with the stars, suggesting that the Bimini Road may have been part of a larger, astronomically aligned structure, much like other ancient megalithic sites, such as Stonehenge. If this were the case, the Bimini Road could serve as evidence of an advanced knowledge of astronomy and architecture far earlier than previously thought. Could this road be part of a sophisticated network of structures built by a civilization whose history was lost to time? Of course, the idea that the Bimini Road is linked to Atlantis is speculative at best, and there is no direct evidence to support this theory. However, the mystery surrounding the site has led to various alternative explanations. Some have suggested that the stones may be part of a ceremonial or religious structure, perhaps an ancient temple or ritual pathway. Others believe that the Bimini Road could have been a port or docking area, serving as a vital link for ancient trade networks that spanned across the Caribbean and beyond. Yet another theory proposes that the road may have had practical purposes, connecting islands, for example, or serving as a navigational aid for ancient mariners. In this scenario, the stones could represent the remains of an ancient infrastructure used to guide sailors through the often treacherous waters of the Atlantic. The fact that the stones are located so close to the shore suggests that this area could have once been a key site for coastal navigation. Despite decades of exploration and research, the true nature of the Bimini Road remains unsolved. Is it a natural formation, shaped by the forces of nature, or is it the remnant of a lost, advanced civilization, long forgotten beneath the waves? Each theory offers a possible explanation, but none can definitively answer the question. As the tide shifts and the waves lap against the stones, the Bimini Road continues to hold its secrets, offering tantalizing glimpses into a past that may never be fully understood. Could the answers lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? Or is the mystery of the Bimini Road destined to remain one of the many unanswered questions of our ancient history? Beneath the verdant hills of prehistoric Britain, hidden within the landscape's ancient folds, lies an object that has intrigued archaeologists and historians alike: a stone axe, intricately crafted and perfectly preserved. While axes of this type were once commonplace tools in the everyday lives of early human societies, this particular specimen, unearthed in a quiet field in the heart of England, stands out for its mysterious origins and craftsmanship, raising questions about the abilities and lives of the people who created it. The stone axe, crafted from a finely sharpened piece of flint, was discovered in 1880 near the village of Abingdon in Oxfordshire, a region rich with archaeological sites that date back to the Neolithic period, some 5,000 years ago. Its appearance is striking, a smooth, polished blade that seems almost too refined for the tools of early Britons, yet its simplicity speaks volumes. The craftsmanship is extraordinary, with the flint sharpened to an almost perfect edge, suggesting that it was designed for a specific purpose, whether for chopping wood, cutting through dense undergrowth, or perhaps as a ceremonial or symbolic object. What sets this particular stone axe apart, however, is not just its functional elegance, but the mystery of its placement and context. When it was discovered, the axe was found buried beneath a layer of soil, accompanied by no other artifacts, and there was no evidence of a settlement nearby. The surrounding area had been used for farming, and the axe appeared as if it had been intentionally buried. What could have led someone to bury such a useful tool, one that could have served as an essential part of their daily life? Some have speculated that the burial was an offering, a gesture made to the gods or spirits in the belief that burying tools or weapons could honor them or ensure their favor. The practice of ritual offerings was common in many ancient cultures where objects imbued with personal or functional significance were buried in sacred or symbolic locations. Could the axe have once been part of a larger ritual, used by early Britons in ceremonies that are now lost to time? Others propose that the axe might have been deliberately buried for a more practical reason. Was it placed there as a way of marking a boundary, or perhaps as a form of protection? In some ancient cultures, burying tools at key locations was believed to ward off evil spirits, or to act as a physical and spiritual marker for a community's territory. Could this stone axe have been a symbolic boundary marker, left by its owner as a means of declaring their dominion over the land? Or perhaps it was left behind as a memorial, a tribute to someone or something significant. Even more curious is the idea that the stone axe could represent something more than a tool or a ritual offering. Its placement and its pristine condition suggest that it may have had a ceremonial significance, potentially linked to the emergence of early social structures in prehistoric Britain. During the Neolithic period, societies were beginning to shift from purely hunter-gatherer lifestyles to more settled agricultural ones. With the rise of farming came the development of complex social hierarchies, religious beliefs, and rituals. Could this axe have been a symbol of status, wealth, or power, held by a leader or a priestess whose influence stretched across the land? The mystery deepens when one considers the advanced techniques used to create the axe. Stone tools like this one were crafted through a process called flint knapping, striking a piece of flint with another rock to create a sharp, finely shaped edge. The degree of sophistication in the stone axe's design raises questions about the technological capabilities of Neolithic people. While flint tools were common during this period, the level of polish and refinement on this particular axe suggests that the maker had a deep understanding of materials, honing their craft to a level that seems almost ahead of its time. Some fringe theories suggest that the craftsmanship of the axe points to a lost civilization, or group of people with advanced knowledge of stoneworking techniques, knowledge that has since disappeared. Could the axe be the work of a group of people who possessed skills and technologies that were not passed down to future generations? While mainstream archaeology offers more grounded explanations, such as the development of local expertise over time, the idea of a lost, ancient tradition still lingers in the minds of those who study this artifact. Yet the most tantalizing mystery of all may be the lack of evidence surrounding the people who created this axe. Was this tool a product of an isolated community, or did it belong to a group that was part of a larger network of people who shared knowledge and skills? In a time when there were no written records, how did early Britons exchange ideas and technologies across the vast expanses of the island? Was there a hidden network of trade and communication that we have yet to uncover? Or did the knowledge of flint knapping, passed down orally through generations, die with the last of the ancient craftspeople? Despite decades of research and numerous theories, the true origin and purpose of the stone axe remain elusive. Was it simply a tool buried for safekeeping or for a practical reason? Or did it serve a deeper, more symbolic purpose tied to ancient religious or societal practices? Its mysterious placement, refined craftsmanship, and the absence of other artifacts nearby make it a rare and intriguing piece of history, one that, even after centuries of study, continues to challenge our understanding of prehistoric Britain. As we stand on the land that once belonged to the people who crafted this axe, the question remains: what other secrets lie buried in the soil, waiting to be uncovered? What knowledge or practices have been lost to time, waiting for the right moment to resurface and reveal the full extent of early human ingenuity? The stone axe from Abingdon remains a symbol of the mysteries still hidden beneath the earth, a reminder that even the simplest of objects may hold the keys to understanding our distant past. Nestled in the hills of Zhejiang Province, China, lies an underground complex that has baffled archaeologists and geologists since its discovery. The Longyou Caves, sometimes referred to as the Longyou Grottos, are a series of massive man-made caves carved deep into the rock, their true origin and purpose still shrouded in mystery. Stretching over 30,000 square meters, the caves are an impressive feat of ancient engineering, with intricately designed chambers, high ceilings, and vast halls that stretch far beneath the surface. Yet despite their size and complexity, no one knows exactly when or why they were built, nor who the builders were. The Longyou Caves were only discovered in 1992, when local villagers in the region began excavating a well. As they dug deeper into the earth, they uncovered a network of underground chambers. What began as a routine construction project soon turned into one of China's most perplexing archaeological finds. The caves are thought to date back at least 2,000 years, although some believe they may be far older. The precise dating of the caves remains unclear, and this uncertainty adds an additional layer of intrigue to their mystery. The structure of the caves is both awe-inspiring and enigmatic. The chambers vary in size, with some large enough to fit entire houses inside, while others are smaller, but still remarkably well constructed. The walls of the caves are smooth and polished, suggesting advanced carving techniques that seem almost out of place for the time period. Some of the rooms are carved with intricate geometric patterns, while others have large, deep columns that appear to have been chiseled by skilled hands. The ceilings rise high above, with narrow passageways leading into even darker corners. But what's most perplexing is the sheer scope of the project. These caves were not simply dug out as a series of caves for living or storage. They seem to have been designed with a purpose, though that purpose remains unclear. The mystery deepens when we consider how the caves were constructed. The sheer scale of the project suggests that the builders had access to tools and technologies far beyond what we typically associate with ancient civilizations in China. The precision with which the tunnels, chambers, and columns were carved raises questions about the methods used to excavate such a vast underground complex. Modern engineers and archaeologists have speculated that the builders must have employed a highly developed form of stoneworking, perhaps even advanced surveying techniques, to create such a precise structure. However, no historical records exist that can explain how these caves were constructed, and no evidence of tools or building materials has been found at the site. Did the ancient builders possess knowledge of technologies lost to history? Or was there something more extraordinary about their methods? Some experts suggest that the caves could have served as a type of water storage or irrigation system, as the region around the Longyou Caves was historically known for its agricultural activity. However, this theory does not explain the intricacy and scale of the construction. If the caves were purely functional, why would they be so elaborately designed? And why were they dug so deep into the earth? Other theories propose that the caves were used for religious or ceremonial purposes, with the cave chambers acting as temples or shrines. Given the mysterious carvings and the scale of the work, it is not entirely out of the question that the caves may have had a spiritual significance to the people who created them. Yet, the most intriguing possibility is that the Longyou Caves were part of a much larger, long-lost civilization. Some fringe theories suggest that the caves may be the remnants of a forgotten people or culture, one whose knowledge and advanced skills were lost to time. The sophistication of the caves suggests that their builders may have had a deep understanding of architecture, engineering, and design, knowledge that might have been passed down through generations, only to be erased by the passage of time or some catastrophic event. While no definitive answers have been found, some researchers have pointed to similar subterranean structures in other parts of the world. In Egypt, for example, there are ancient underground tombs and tunnels that share certain design characteristics with the Longyou Caves. Could there have been ancient global knowledge of underground architecture, passed down through the ages and later forgotten by the civilizations we know today? Is it possible that the caves were part of a larger, now lost network of underground sites that connected people across ancient cultures? Adding to the mystery is the fact that the Longyou Caves were intentionally hidden from view for centuries. The complex was buried beneath layers of earth and stone, and no records or folklore exist that describe the caves or their purpose. It is almost as if the builders wanted to keep the caves hidden, as though they were constructing something sacred, secret, or forbidden. Why would such a monumental structure be hidden away, buried beneath the ground for so long? And why were the caves left abandoned, with no evidence of human activity within them for centuries? Despite the many theories, the true story behind the Longyou Caves remains one of China's most compelling archaeological mysteries. With no written records to guide us and few clues to their purpose, we are left to speculate about who built the caves, when they were constructed, and why they were created. The question remains: could the Longyou Caves be a relic of a lost civilization with knowledge beyond what we can comprehend? Or are they simply the work of an ancient people, whose motivations and techniques are forever lost to time? As we continue to search for answers, the Longyou Caves stand as a testament to the complexity and ingenuity of our ancestors, even as they leave us with more questions than answers. What other secrets lie buried in the earth, waiting to be discovered? And what might the Longyou Caves reveal about the civilizations that once thrived beneath the surface of the world we know today? In 1901, a team of divers exploring a shipwreck off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera made a discovery that would captivate the world for over a century. Among the ancient remains of pottery, statues, and other artifacts, they uncovered an object that, at first glance, appeared to be little more than a tangle of corroded bronze fragments. Yet, as archaeologists and researchers began to carefully examine the pieces, they realized that they had uncovered something extraordinary, a complex, mechanical device that, by all measures, should not have existed in its time. This was the Antikythera Mechanism, a bronze artifact that would come to be recognized as the world's first analog computer. The mechanism is a fascinating and bewildering structure of interlocking gears, wheels, and dials, all encased in a metal housing. When pieced together, it reveals a marvel of ancient engineering, a machine that was capable of predicting astronomical events with astonishing accuracy. The device, dating back to around 100 BCE, is thought to have been used to calculate the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, and even to predict eclipses. Its design was unlike anything else found in the ancient world, a level of sophistication that did not reappear until the development of mechanical clocks more than 1,000 years later. What makes the Antikythera mechanism particularly remarkable is the level of precision and complexity in its construction. The gears within the device are meticulously crafted, each with finely tuned teeth and advanced mechanisms that seem far ahead of their time. When reconstructed and studied in detail, it becomes clear that this device was not merely a curiosity. It was a tool for practical astronomical observation, capable of predicting celestial events with extraordinary accuracy. The fact that such a device could have existed in the 1st century BCE forces us to reconsider what we know about the technological capabilities of ancient civilizations. How could the Greeks, a society known for its advances in philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy, possess such intricate mechanical knowledge? And why was such a device created? For decades, scholars have debated the purpose of the Antikythera mechanism. The most widely accepted theory is that it was an astronomical calculator, a tool used by ancient Greek astronomers or priests to track the movements of the celestial bodies. Some have suggested that it was an early form of an orrery, a mechanical model of the solar system, used to represent and predict the positions of the planets. The mechanism's ability to predict eclipses and other astronomical phenomena points to its possible use as a tool for calendrical and agricultural purposes, helping to determine the timing of religious festivals or harvests. However, the mystery deepens when we consider the broader implications of the device's existence. While the Antikythera mechanism clearly served a practical purpose, it was also an incredibly complex and sophisticated piece of machinery, one that raises more questions than it answers. How was it created with such precision at a time when metalworking techniques were not nearly as advanced as they would later become? And why was there no tradition of similar devices in the ancient world? The Antikythera mechanism is, as far as we know, unique, a solitary example of a technology that seems to have appeared and then disappeared without leaving behind a clear legacy. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Antikythera mechanism is its anomalous position in history. No other known device from the ancient world is as advanced or as intricately constructed. Modern engineers and researchers have struggled to replicate its gears and mechanisms with the same level of precision, and yet it was made with tools and knowledge that should have been rudimentary by today's standards. Some scholars have suggested that the device could be a relic of a much older, unknown civilization, one that possessed advanced scientific and engineering knowledge that was lost to history. Could the Antikythera mechanism be the last vestige of a forgotten society that understood the principles of gears and mechanics long before they were rediscovered in the medieval period? There are other, more speculative theories that suggest the device could be linked to knowledge beyond the reach of ancient Greeks, possibly even extraterrestrial origins. While this theory is certainly outside the mainstream, it points to the remarkable level of sophistication that the mechanism represents. Could it be that ancient civilizations had access to knowledge that was lost or hidden from later generations? Or was the Antikythera mechanism a fluke, a unique invention, the likes of which was never repeated or even understood in its time? What is perhaps most perplexing about the Antikythera mechanism is its disappearance from history. No other devices like it have been found in ancient archaeological sites, and there are no references to it in surviving Greek or Roman texts. The device seems to have been forgotten, buried beneath layers of time and history. Did it remain in use for centuries, only to fade into obscurity? Or was it abandoned, its knowledge lost as the tides of history swept away its creators and their civilization? As we look at the Antikythera mechanism today, it serves as a reminder of how much we still have yet to understand about the ancient world. Its advanced technology challenges our assumptions about the limits of ancient knowledge, and its silence speaks volumes about the gaps in our understanding. Could there be more artifacts like it, buried beneath the earth, waiting to be discovered? And if so, what other secrets of the ancient world might we yet uncover? The Antikythera mechanism remains an enduring mystery, a brilliant, complex object that continues to raise more questions than it answers. As we continue to study it, we are reminded of how much we still have to learn about the past, and how much might still be hidden, waiting to be uncovered. The search for answers may one day lead to revelations that change everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Until then, the mechanism remains a key to the past, one that still holds its secrets close. Tucked away in the hills of Cheshire, England, there exists a place steeped in both beauty and legend. Alderley Edge. This rugged, windswept ridge, covered in dense woodland and adorned with moss-covered rocks, has long been a place of fascination. To the casual observer, it might seem like nothing more than a picturesque natural landscape. But for those who look deeper, Alderley Edge holds an enigmatic secret, a stone that has sparked intrigue, speculation, and wonder for centuries. The Alderley Edge stone is an ancient monolith, a large slab of stone that stands at the edge of the forest, its surface marked with intricate yet weathered carvings. It sits in the shadow of a rocky outcrop, where the land dips into the surrounding valley, offering a commanding view of the countryside below. The stone's presence is understated, but its significance is anything but. Some believe it to be an ancient marker, a boundary stone once used to demarcate sacred land or important ritual sites. But its true purpose, like so many ancient artifacts, remains a mystery. The stone itself is marked with faint but deliberate carvings. At first glance, these symbols may seem like simple etchings, perhaps a form of primitive art or mere decoration, but closer inspection reveals something much more intriguing. The carvings appear purposeful, arranged in patterns that suggest a deeper meaning. Some have speculated that they may represent an early form of writing, predating known scripts. Others have suggested that the carvings are astronomical in nature, a map of the stars, or a calendar used to track celestial events. What is clear, however, is that these markings do not fit into any known historical context. No clear explanation exists for why they were made, or who created them. Alderley Edge has long been associated with myths and legends, one of the most famous being that of the Wizard of Alderley. According to the tale, a wizard of great power once lived in the hills, and beneath the stone lay an army of knights who would awaken when the land was in danger. The stone is said to mark the entrance to this hidden army's resting place, a portal to a secret world buried deep beneath the earth. While the story may seem like a mere fairy tale, the idea of an ancient resting place for a hidden army resonates with a sense of mystery that clings to the landscape itself. The connection between the Alderley Edge stone and local folklore cannot be dismissed. The stone has long been a focal point for supernatural stories, stories of hidden treasures, mystical powers, and portals to other realms. Over time, these myths have only deepened the sense of mystery surrounding the stone. Could it have served as a key to an ancient ritual or a symbolic marker for an unknown, long-lost civilization? Or is it simply a relic of a more mundane past? Perhaps a boundary marker or an unremarkable milestone in a forgotten corner of the British Isles. What sets the Alderley Edge stone apart from other ancient monuments is the sheer lack of historical context. Unlike stone circles or burial mounds, which are often linked to specific cultures or practices, the Alderley Edge stone is an isolated enigma. No known records or writings reference it, and no other similar stones have been found in the area. The stone's carving style does not match any recognized pattern from ancient Britain or Celtic traditions, and yet there it stands, silent and unwavering, offering no explanation for its existence. Some theories attempt to connect the stone to ancient cultures known for their advanced knowledge of astronomy and ritual. Could it be that the stone was erected by an early group of people with a deep understanding of the cosmos? The carvings, if they indeed represent celestial knowledge, might suggest that the stone was part of an ancient observatory or a site used to track the movements of stars and planets. Others propose that the stone is tied to an even older pre-Celtic tradition, a mystery lost to time and buried beneath centuries of changing civilizations. The possibility that the stone could represent a link to a forgotten society raises tantalizing questions. Could there have been an advanced civilization in Britain long before the Celts arrived? And if so, why did it leave so few traces behind? As with many such objects, the allure of the Alderley Edge stone lies not only in its tangible mystery, but also in the layers of legend and speculation that have accumulated around it. While mainstream scholars might dismiss the more fantastical stories of hidden armies and portals, the very presence of such tales suggests that the stone may have held a profound significance for those who lived in its shadow. Did it serve as a marker of something much larger, perhaps a sacred site or an ancient repository of knowledge? The lack of definitive answers is both frustrating and fascinating. The stone's purpose remains elusive, and its creators remain anonymous. Yet, it is this very uncertainty that makes the Alderley Edge stone so compelling. What secrets could it hold? And what might we discover if we could fully decode its carvings, or if we could trace its origins to a forgotten time? The mystery of the Alderley Edge stone continues to linger, as its weathered surface holds the echoes of a past long gone, and its silence only amplifies the questions that surround it. Could this stone, so quietly enduring through the centuries, be a key to a much older chapter of British history? A history hidden just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. The Alderley Edge stone stands as a reminder of how much is still left to discover. As we gaze upon its ancient carvings, we are drawn into a web of speculation and wonder, forever wondering what mysteries might still lie buried in the land beneath our feet. Deep in the forests and river valleys of Canada's northern regions, a mysterious discovery has puzzled archaeologists and historians alike. Buried beneath layers of soil and time, these peculiar artifacts, stone tools carved in the shape of fish, have ignited a debate about ancient cultures, their survival, and their knowledge of the natural world. What purpose did these fish-shaped stone tools serve, and what can they tell us about the people who created them? The fish-shaped tools were first discovered in various parts of Canada, particularly in the northern regions of British Columbia and the Yukon Territory. The artifacts range in size and design, with each one shaped carefully to resemble a fish, complete with fins, a tail, and even facial features in some cases. At first glance, they appear to be a curious form of art or symbolism, but their uniformity and apparent craftsmanship suggest that they were, in fact, practical tools. While the exact use of these fish-shaped tools remains a subject of intense debate, many experts believe they were likely used for some form of ritual or daily life, possibly linked to fishing practices, but the precise function remains elusive. The stones themselves are made from a variety of materials, including local varieties of slate, limestone, and other sedimentary rock. They show signs of deliberate shaping, with the rough surfaces smoothed down and carefully carved to mimic the natural form of fish. Some have been found to have traces of wear, suggesting they were used regularly. Yet, there is no clear indication of how or why they were so intricately designed. Were they tools for carving, for use in ceremonial rituals, or did they hold some symbolic significance, possibly tied to the spiritual beliefs of the people who made them? To understand the mystery of the fish-shaped tools, it's essential to consider the environment in which they were found. The ancient peoples of Canada's northern regions were highly attuned to their surroundings, with a deep understanding of the land and its ecosystems. Fishing, hunting, and gathering were central to their survival, and many cultures revered animals, including fish, as spiritual symbols. The fish, in particular, held a special place in many indigenous cultures, often seen as a provider of life. Could the tools have been created as offerings to the fish spirits, used in rituals meant to ensure successful hunts or bountiful harvests from the rivers and lakes? The fish-shaped design could have been a form of symbolic communication, an invocation to the creatures of the water to provide for those who depended on them. However, mainstream explanations fail to fully account for the unique characteristics of these tools. The shape and design of the fish are remarkably consistent, suggesting that they were crafted by a single group, culture, or tradition. Yet no known culture in this region has been definitively linked to the creation of these tools, making it difficult to place them within the context of established indigenous practices. Were they made by an early, undocumented culture, perhaps one that existed before the arrival of the first known indigenous peoples in the Americas? Or did these tools represent a short-lived tradition, one that vanished without leaving any trace in the archaeological record? One of the more speculative theories posits that these fish-shaped tools could be remnants of an even older, pre-Columbian civilization that may have lived in the Americas long before the known indigenous cultures. Some have suggested that they might be linked to the possibility of transoceanic contact, where ancient cultures from distant lands, such as those from Asia or Europe, may have reached North America. Could these fish-shaped tools be the product of a culture that crossed the ocean, bringing with them their knowledge and tools? This theory, though controversial, raises the intriguing possibility that ancient peoples from other parts of the world may have interacted with, or even influenced the cultures of the Americas in ways that we have yet to fully understand. Despite the many theories, there is still no clear consensus on the true purpose of the fish-shaped stone tools. Their apparent lack of direct correlation to any known historical culture, combined with their remarkable craftsmanship, suggests that they may belong to an era that lies outside the scope of current archaeological knowledge. This raises a troubling question. What other hidden mysteries could be lurking, buried beneath the layers of time, waiting to be uncovered? Could these artifacts be the remnants of a forgotten people, whose influence and knowledge never fully integrated into the broader tapestry of human history? The possibility that there exists a lost culture, one that left behind such peculiar tools, adds to the mystery, compelling us to consider that there is much more to the history of ancient civilizations than we might have thought. And then there is the more profound question. Could these fish-shaped tools, with their enigmatic form and design, represent a deeper connection to the natural world, an understanding of nature so finely tuned and symbolically rich that we can barely comprehend it today? The mystery of the fish-shaped stone tools remains unsolved, leaving us to wonder about the people who crafted them and the lost world they once inhabited. As we continue to uncover fragments of the past, we are reminded that some questions may never be fully answered. The fish-shaped tools are just one example of how ancient artifacts can challenge our understanding of the past, prompting us to rethink what we know about early civilizations and their relationship with the natural world. What other mysteries lie waiting, buried in the earth just beyond our reach? In the dense jungles of Indonesia, nestled on the island of Java, lies a discovery that has fascinated anthropologists for decades. A series of ancient stone tools, crafted by one of humanity's earliest ancestors, Homo erectus. These tools, which date back over 1 million years, offer a rare glimpse into the lives of early humans who roamed the earth long before the rise of modern civilization. The site, located in the area known as the Shigir Dome, has yielded thousands of stone implements, each one meticulously shaped by hand to serve a practical purpose. These tools range from simple flakes to finely crafted hand axes, chisels, and scrapers, all created by Homo erectus, a species that is believed to have mastered the art of toolmaking long before the advent of modern humans. What sets these tools apart is not just their age, but the level of craftsmanship and precision with which they were created, an indication of intelligence, skill, and adaptability that was crucial for survival in a world vastly different from our own. The stone tools found at Shigir are part of what is known as the Acheulean tradition, a type of technology associated with early human species, particularly Homo erectus. This toolkit, which includes large bifacial hand axes and sharp-edged flakes, is considered to be a significant leap in the evolution of human technology. While Homo erectus was not the first species to use tools, the sophistication of the tools found in Indonesia suggests that these early humans had a deep understanding of the materials they worked with and an ability to shape them for specific functions, such as cutting, chopping, and processing food. But the mystery surrounding these tools deepens when we consider the context in which they were found. The Shigir site is not only a treasure trove of ancient artifacts, it is also one of the richest sources of Homo erectus fossils in the world. Yet, despite this wealth of evidence, there is still much we don't know about the lives of the people who created these tools. How did Homo erectus learn to make such intricate stone implements? What drove them to evolve this level of craftsmanship, and how did they pass this knowledge from one generation to the next? The tools themselves are striking in their complexity. While some early stone tools, known as Oldowan tools, were primarily used for simple tasks, such as cracking nuts or breaking bones, the Acheulean tools found in Indonesia are far more advanced. The bifacial hand axes, for example, were carefully shaped by flaking stones to create sharp, durable edges. These tools were versatile, capable of being used for cutting meat, processing plants, and even digging. What's especially remarkable is the fact that Homo erectus was using such advanced tools long before the rise of modern humans, raising questions about the cognitive abilities of this early species. How did they understand the principles of geometry and material science to craft tools with such precision? Could there be more to their intelligence than we currently acknowledge? The answers, however, remain elusive. Mainstream scholars believe that these tools were created for practical purposes, survival tools used by Homo erectus as they navigated the challenges of their environment. Yet, there are more speculative theories that suggest these tools could have had symbolic or cultural significance as well. Could these early humans have imbued their tools with meaning beyond mere utility? Were these tools part of a larger social structure, used in rituals or as a means of communication? Could the craftsmanship of these tools indicate the beginnings of social learning, where knowledge was shared and passed down within groups? Adding to the intrigue is the fact that Homo erectus appears to have created these tools in isolation, without influence from other contemporary species of early humans. There is little evidence to suggest that Homo erectus had direct contact with other hominid species, such as Neanderthals or Homo sapiens, during the time these tools were created. This raises a fascinating question. Could the advanced tool-making abilities of Homo erectus have been an independent development, separate from other human lineages? Or were these tools the result of shared knowledge passed down from an earlier, yet unknown, hominid species? As we examine the tools found in Indonesia, we are also confronted with the mystery of their creators themselves. Homo erectus is considered one of the most successful hominid species, surviving for nearly 1.5 million years, far longer than many other early human ancestors. But why did they persist for so long? What factors contributed to their longevity? And why did they eventually disappear? Did their sophisticated tool-making contribute to their survival in ways that we are only beginning to understand? While Homo erectus is no longer with us, their tools remain as a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability. The Acheulean tools found in Indonesia tell a story of early human creativity and survival, of a species that mastered the art of crafting tools in a world that was both hostile and unpredictable. Yet the mysteries of these tools, their creators, their purpose, and their significance, continue to elude us. As we stand on the brink of understanding the world of Homo erectus, we are left with more questions than answers. What else might lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to reveal more about this ancient species? Could further discoveries in Indonesia or elsewhere shed light on the true nature of Homo erectus? And how might these tools, crafted by hands long gone, continue to shape our understanding of the origins of humanity itself? On the southern coast of the Greek island of Crete, nestled within the ruins of the Minoan palace of Phaistos, lies one of archaeology's most perplexing artifacts, the Phaistos Disc. Discovered in 1908 by Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier, this small, circular clay tablet, covered in strange yet meticulously crafted symbols, has intrigued scholars and historians for over a century. Its origins, purpose, and meaning remain an enigma, a mystery that refuses to yield to the passage of time. The disc itself is a striking object, measuring about 16 centimeters in diameter and bearing an intricate pattern of symbols pressed into the clay. There are 45 distinct signs, each appearing multiple times in different arrangements, creating a form of writing unlike anything found elsewhere in the ancient world. The symbols, which resemble hieroglyphs or ideograms, have been stamped into the disc with remarkable precision. At first glance, they seem to resemble an early form of writing, perhaps a form of ancient script used by the Minoans, the civilization that thrived on Crete from approximately 2000 to 1450 BCE. Yet, despite numerous attempts to decipher the symbols, their meaning has remained elusive, and the language they represent has not been identified. What is immediately striking about the Phaistos disc is its form. Unlike other ancient written records, such as the cuneiform tablets of Mesopotamia or Egyptian hieroglyphs, the Phaistos Disc is not inscribed with carvings, but rather stamped with symbols, as though each sign had been individually pressed into the soft clay. This method of production suggests a highly organized system of communication, one that could have been mass-produced, perhaps for administrative or ceremonial purposes. The disc's form and craftsmanship raise intriguing questions. Was it a document for recording a particular event or ritual, or was it a more general-purpose item, perhaps a calendar, a religious text, or a mnemonic device used for teaching? The mystery deepens when we consider the absence of any direct context. The Phaistos Disc is the only artifact of its kind ever discovered. No other similar items have been found in Minoan sites, nor are there any references to such a script in Minoan literature or records. How did the Minoans, known for their advanced architecture, art, and trade, develop a system of writing that appears to have been entirely unique to them? And why has no other evidence of such writing or symbols been discovered in the surrounding archaeological layers? Over the years, a variety of theories have been proposed to explain the Phaistos Disc, each one attempting to unlock the secrets of its symbols. Some scholars have suggested that it represents a form of writing, perhaps a lost Minoan script, which was used for administrative purposes or religious texts. Others propose that it could be a form of Proto-Greek writing, a precursor to later Greek scripts. However, the lack of parallel evidence or inscriptions from the same period makes it difficult to confidently place the Phaistos Disc within the known history of the Minoans or other ancient Mediterranean cultures. One popular theory is that the disc represents a type of calendar or astronomical device, perhaps used to mark the passage of time or predict celestial events. The repetitive nature of the symbols, arranged in what appears to be a circular pattern, could suggest that the disc had a cyclical function, possibly a tool for tracking lunar or solar cycles, similar to the way early societies used stone circles or other celestial markers. Yet, this remains speculative. There is no concrete evidence to support the idea that the Minoans, or any other early Mediterranean civilization, used such a system of timekeeping. Another possibility is that the Phaistos Disc is not a script at all, but rather a form of symbolic art, representing religious or mythological themes that have since been lost to history. Some have even proposed that the disc could have been a form of propaganda, created to promote the authority of a ruler or deity, or to commemorate a significant event. The lack of a clear context, however, makes it impossible to determine whether the disc was part of a larger ritualistic or cultural practice. Perhaps the most intriguing theory is that the symbols on the Phaistos Disc represent a lost or forgotten language, a language that, for reasons unknown, did not survive into later periods of history. This theory proposes that the symbols were not a simple script, but a sophisticated system of communication that was abandoned and forgotten after the fall of the Minoan civilization. If true, the disc could represent a link to an entirely lost branch of the human linguistic tree, a language that may have held secrets and knowledge about the Minoans and their culture. Despite numerous attempts by linguists, cryptographers, and historians, no one has been able to decipher the symbols on the Phaistos Disc. Some have even speculated that it could be a form of code, a cipher designed to obscure its true meaning from all but a select few. If this is the case, the disc might not only represent a lost language, but also a lost culture of secrecy and hidden knowledge. Could the Phaistos Disc be more than just a written record? Could it have been used to convey knowledge that was intentionally concealed, perhaps for reasons of power, ritual, or protection? The mystery of the Phaistos Disc, like many ancient puzzles, raises more questions than it answers. What knowledge did the Minoans possess, and why has it remained hidden for so long? Was the disc a tool for communication, a piece of art, or something far more significant? The fact that the Phaistos Disc remains undeciphered, with no definitive answers about its purpose, leaves us to wonder about the secrets it might still hold. As we look upon the disc today, we are reminded of the vast chasm between the ancient and modern worlds, a chasm that may never be bridged. Yet, in that gap, there lies the allure of discovery, the hope that one day, perhaps, the symbols will be unlocked and the true meaning of the Phaistos Disc will be revealed. Until then, the mystery remains, a silent witness to a forgotten civilization and a riddle that refuses to be solved. In the tranquil hills of southern France, hidden beneath layers of earth and time, lies a stone core that continues to defy explanation. Unearthed in the 19th century near the village of Moulin-Quignon, this curious object has remained one of the most debated and mysterious archaeological finds in the world. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a simple, unassuming chunk of flint. But this stone core has become an enigma that has left scholars and archaeologists baffled for more than 150 years. What makes this core so special? What secret might it hold? And why has it remained such a compelling mystery in the world of ancient history? The object itself is not large, approximately 15 centimeters in length, yet it is remarkable for its unusual shape and the marks left upon it. It is believed to be a tool-making core, a piece of flint that would have once served as the source material from which sharp-edged tools were fashioned. But what makes this particular core so intriguing is the way in which it was shaped. The flint shows evidence of being struck in a way that is not typical of known prehistoric tool-making methods. It appears as though it had been shaped to fit some specific purpose, though that purpose remains unclear. The most startling feature of the core is the pattern of grooves and markings on its surface, marks that are not easily explained by standard methods of tool production. The discovery of the Moulin-Quignon stone core was initially hailed as a breakthrough. The site where it was found, situated on the banks of the River Somme, was rich in prehistoric artifacts. The core was thought to have been made by early humans, possibly even Neanderthals, and was initially believed to be an important link in the history of human tool-making. However, as further examination of the object took place, it became clear that something more mysterious was at play. Radiocarbon dating of the surrounding deposits placed the core's age at around 500,000 years ago. But it was not the age that raised eyebrows. It was the context in which the stone was found. Unlike typical flint cores from the same period, which were used by early humans to create tools for everyday tasks, the Moulin-Quignon core did not show any of the usual signs of wear. No sharp edges, no signs of purposeful shaping or deliberate flaking for tool creation. This discrepancy led some archaeologists to question its authenticity. Could this stone core be a hoax? A natural object that had been modified in a way that made it appear as though it had been shaped by human hands? The debate raged for decades, and while some scholars remained convinced that the object was a legitimate prehistoric tool, others argued that it was nothing more than an oddity, a curiosity that had been misunderstood. Yet, even more puzzling than its lack of typical wear marks was the absence of any other similar objects in the region. If the Moulin-Quignon core had been part of a recognized tool-making tradition, why had no other cores, tools, or flint implements been found in the surrounding area? Was this the product of a unique and short-lived culture, one whose techniques never spread beyond a small group of people? Or was the core perhaps a remnant of a lost, advanced civilization, one that predated known human development and left behind no further trace? As with many archaeological mysteries, speculation flourishes where the evidence is thin. Some have suggested that the Moulin-Quignon core is not a flint tool at all, but rather an object of a more mystical or ritualistic nature. The grooves and marks on its surface, some have posited, may not be the result of tool-making, but of some form of symbolic or religious activity, perhaps an artifact used in a sacred ceremony, an object of power. Others have wondered whether the stone was a primitive form of art, a depiction of some unknown belief system that has been lost to time. Perhaps the most intriguing theory, however, is the suggestion that the Moulin Quignon core could represent evidence of a far older civilization than we currently recognize. Could the core be a relic of a people who lived long before the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens emerged, a lost culture whose knowledge of flint working was far more advanced than we are capable of comprehending? If such a civilization existed, it would fundamentally alter our understanding of human prehistory, pushing back the timeline of human development far further than we ever imagined. But with no other evidence to support this idea, the theory remains speculative at best. One possible connection to this idea lies in the fact that the core was found near the site of other prehistoric remains, including mammoth bones and other large fauna. Could it be that this core was used in the hunting or butchering of these great creatures? Was it an artifact linked to a particular practice, like ritualistic slaughter or the veneration of the animals that had provided sustenance? The lack of a clear context only deepens the mystery, leaving us to wonder what cultural practices or beliefs might have been tied to this stone tool, or if it even was a tool at all. The mystery of the Moulin Quignon stone core persists because it refuses to conform to the known patterns of human prehistory. Unlike other tools found in the region, this object stands alone, challenging everything we thought we knew about early humans and their interactions with their environment. While its authenticity may remain in doubt, the questions it raises remain compelling. Could there be more to the story of human evolution than we have uncovered so far? Could this stone core be an anomaly, a trace of a forgotten world that offers us only the faintest glimpse of what came before? As we stand on the edge of what we know about early humanity, the stone core from Moulin Quignon offers us a reflection on the mysteries still hidden in the earth beneath our feet. It reminds us that even the smallest, most unassuming objects can carry with them secrets that have yet to be unlocked. What other mysteries lie buried, waiting for the moment when we can finally understand their meaning? In the vast, arid stretches of the Mojave Desert, a strange and perplexing mystery has lingered for nearly a century. Among the scattered stones and hidden corners of the desert floor, a series of unusual artifacts have surfaced. Stone cubes, each with a distinct pattern of grooves carved into their surfaces. Known as the Coso stone cubes, these objects have drawn the attention of archaeologists, geologists, and cryptographers alike, each attempting to unlock the riddle they represent. Discovered in the early 20th century by miners working near the Coso Mountains in California, the stone cubes were initially thought to be nothing more than naturally occurring rock formations. Yet, upon closer inspection, it became clear that these were no ordinary stones. Each cube, varying in size but typically measuring a few inches on each side, bears a series of precisely carved grooves, arranged in geometric patterns. The cuts are sharp and deliberate, suggesting the use of tools far beyond the capabilities of the native cultures that once inhabited the region. Some of the grooves even appear to form what could be interpreted as symbols or letters, adding an air of mystery to these already enigmatic objects. The Coso stone cubes are made from a type of volcanic rock known as rhyolite, a material not uncommon to the region. However, the precision of the carvings on the cubes has led some to question their origins. How could such finely crafted objects, with their sharp, uniform grooves, have been produced by the indigenous peoples of the area, especially considering that the tools and technology of these groups were not advanced enough to create such intricate designs? The discovery of these cubes has sparked a range of theories, each offering a different explanation for their origins and purpose. Some scholars argue that the cubes were simply natural formations, shaped by wind and erosion over the millennia. According to this theory, The grooves are merely a product of the desert's harsh environment, formed through a process of weathering and natural erosion. However, the regularity and apparent intention behind the grooves seem to challenge this hypothesis, prompting many to look for alternative explanations. Others have suggested that the cubes were created by ancient human civilizations, though none are known to have inhabited the Mojave Desert during the time when the cubes were likely carved. Could the Coso stone cubes be relics of an ancient, forgotten culture that once flourished in the desert, leaving behind only these strange, cryptic objects? If so, what purpose did these cubes serve? Were they religious or ceremonial objects, perhaps tied to some long-lost belief system? Could they have been used as a form of communication, with the grooves representing a forgotten language or script? One of the most intriguing theories comes from those who speculate that the Coso stone cubes were not the work of human hands at all, but rather the result of extraterrestrial intervention. According to proponents of this hypothesis, the precision and complexity of the grooves are far too advanced for any known ancient civilization. Could these cubes be evidence of an alien presence in the Mojave Desert thousands of years ago? Were the grooves a form of communication, or perhaps a map to some unknown location left behind by visitors from the stars? While this theory remains firmly in the realm of speculation, it certainly adds an element of wonder to the mystery of the Coso stones. There are also those who believe that the cubes could be tools or devices, their grooves serving a functional purpose. Some have proposed that the grooves were used for measuring or calculating, potentially linked to an ancient system of mathematics or astronomy. Could these cubes have been used by early humans as part of some sort of ritualistic practice, where their design and dimensions held particular significance? Others suggest that the cubes might have been components of a larger machine, a kind of ancient technology whose purpose we can no longer comprehend. Despite the range of theories, the true origin and function of the Coso stone cubes remain a mystery. The lack of context for the cubes, the absence of other artifacts, tools, or structures that could provide clues, only deepens the enigma. Were the cubes part of a once thriving civilization, now lost to time? Or are they something else entirely, the product of forces we do not yet understand? And if they are indeed man-made, then why have no similar objects been found elsewhere in the world? The precise nature of the grooves, their uniformity, and their strange patterns are unlike any known examples of ancient tool-making, making it difficult to place these objects within the context of any known culture. As is often the case with archaeological mysteries, the passage of time has not provided the answers we might hope for. In fact, it has only added layers of complexity to the questions that surround the Coso stone cubes. They continue to challenge our assumptions about the ancient world, forcing us to confront the possibility that there are still hidden chapters in the history of humanity, chapters that have yet to be discovered or understood. Today, the Coso stone cubes lie in private collections, tucked away in the dusty corners of museums and research institutions, their mysteries unsolved. Their strange markings continue to provoke curiosity as researchers and enthusiasts alike continue to search for answers. Was this an artifact from an ancient culture long forgotten, or something far more extraordinary? The grooves carved into the surface of these stones may hold clues to a deeper understanding of the past, one that remains just out of reach. As we peer into the past, we are reminded of how much is still hidden from view. The Coso stone cubes, with their unyielding enigma, invite us to ponder the possibilities of what might still lie beneath the surface of history. What knowledge have we yet to uncover, and what might remain forever locked away in the sands of time? Beneath the sun-baked soil of Malta lies a hidden world, a vast subterranean temple complex that has fascinated archaeologists and historians for centuries. Known as the Hypogeum of Malta, this ancient structure, carved deep into the limestone bedrock, offers a glimpse into a past that is as mysterious as it is enigmatic. Discovered in 1902 by workers excavating for stone, the Hypogeum is unlike anything else in the Mediterranean. Its size, its design, and most strikingly, its purpose, remain subjects of intense speculation and intrigue. The structure, thought to date back to between 3600 and 2500 BCE, is a labyrinthine network of chambers, passageways, and niches, all hewn from solid rock. Its 3 main levels descend deep into the earth, extending over 500 square meters of space. The walls are adorned with abstract symbols, some of which resemble spirals and other geometric patterns, while others appear to have been painted with ochre and red pigment, an indication that the temple was not merely a utilitarian structure, but a site of ritual and profound meaning. The uppermost chambers are accessed by steep, narrow passageways, but the deeper sections reveal the true scale of the Hypogeum's purpose. It was, in all likelihood, a sacred space, a place for ceremonial activity, and, as some suggest, a burial site for the dead. Yet for all its grandeur, the Hypogeum's function remains unclear. Was it a temple dedicated to gods long forgotten, a place of worship, or perhaps a royal tomb? The fact that the site contains numerous skeletal remains along with various tools, pottery, and artifacts hints at some form of mortuary practice, but the exact nature of the rituals is unknown. What sets the Hypogeum apart, however, is not just its function, but the questions it raises about its construction and its creators. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Hypogeum is the advanced engineering evident in its design. The complex features chambers and tunnels that are acoustically exceptional. When a person speaks or sings in certain parts of the structure, the sound resonates in a way that is unlike any other building of its kind. The most famous example of this is the so-called oracle room, where the human voice reverberates across the walls with a haunting, almost otherworldly quality. Some researchers have speculated that the acoustics were intentionally designed to enhance spiritual rituals, amplifying the voice of the priest or shaman, thereby creating a more immersive and mystical experience for those present. The idea that sound played a role in the rituals of the Hypogeum is supported by the discovery of what some have called musical instruments. Small flint tools with holes drilled through them, perhaps used for producing sound. In addition, the human remains found within the Hypogeum reveal evidence of high-status burials, with some individuals placed in positions that suggest they may have held significant spiritual or political roles within their society. But why did this underground site need such careful acoustic design? Could the Hypogeum have served as a temple for ancient rites involving sound, such as chanting, music, or prayer? The exact role of sound in the religious life of Malta's prehistoric inhabitants remains one of the greatest unanswered questions of the site. Another mystery surrounding the Hypogeum is its size and the complexity of its construction. It is believed that the temple was built over several centuries, yet no obvious evidence of tools or techniques used in its creation have been found. How did the prehistoric inhabitants of Malta carve such an intricate and expansive structure without the benefit of metal tools or advanced machinery? The skill and labor required to create the Hypogeum would have been immense, especially when considering that it was constructed entirely by hand. While there are some indications that the inhabitants of Malta had access to a form of rudimentary tools, such as flint, obsidian, and bone, the precise methods they used to hollow out the massive rock chambers remain a mystery. There are also the unexplained artifacts found within the Hypogeum to consider. Some have suggested that the many small statues and figurines discovered within the complex might depict gods or spirits worshipped by the ancient inhabitants of Malta, but the interpretation of these objects is highly speculative. Are these representations of deities, or are they perhaps symbols of something else entirely? The skeletal remains of adults and children, some of whom were buried with elaborate grave goods, suggest a ritualistic use of the space. Yet the specific cultural practices that took place within the Hypogeum are lost to time. What did these ancient people believe, and what motivated them to create such an extraordinary place? Perhaps one of the most perplexing elements of the Hypogeum is its isolation. Why did its builders choose to carve such a vast, intricate structure beneath the earth, away from the bustling settlements of Malta? Was the subterranean nature of the temple symbolic, representing a connection to the underworld or the afterlife? In many ancient cultures, subterranean spaces were associated with death and rebirth. Could this have been a space for those who had passed into the next world, or was it a place where the living could commune with spirits? The most speculative of all theories involves the possible connection between the Hypogeum and more distant ancient civilizations. Some have suggested that the advanced acoustics of the site, as well as its architectural complexity, might be evidence of lost knowledge or even influence from ancient cultures that are now lost to history. Could the Hypogeum represent a link to some lost civilization, one whose knowledge of engineering, music, and ritual was far ahead of its time? The lack of direct evidence to support such claims makes this theory difficult to prove, yet the idea remains tantalizing. What is clear, however, is that the Hypogeum of Malta remains one of the most enigmatic sites of the ancient world. Whether it was a place of religious worship, a mortuary temple, or something else entirely, it stands as a testament to the advanced capabilities of its builders and the mysteries that still surround their culture. The incredible acoustics, the sacred symbolism, and the sheer scale of the structure continue to spark debate. What were these ancient people seeking in the depths of the earth, and what knowledge did they possess that we may never fully understand? As we stand at the threshold of the Hypogeum, gazing into the dark recesses of the past, we are reminded of how much we have yet to learn. The unanswered questions that swirl around this ancient temple call out for resolution. Yet, as with so many other archaeological enigmas, the answers may forever remain just out of reach. Deep in the Ural Mountains of Russia, hidden beneath layers of peat and earth, an ancient artifact was unearthed that would forever challenge our understanding of early human civilization. In 1890, a group of miners working in the Sverdlovsk region discovered a mysterious wooden sculpture buried in the bogs near the Shigir River. Known as the Shigir Idol, this figure would prove to be one of the oldest and most enigmatic pieces of art ever found. Its age estimated to be around 11,000 years, making it older than the Great Pyramids of Egypt and Stonehenge by millennia. The Shigir Idol is a towering figure, standing at more than 2.8 meters, nearly 9 feet, tall. Carved from a single trunk of larch wood, the idol is covered in intricate geometric patterns and abstract designs. Its form is elongated, with a narrow, faceless head atop a slender body. The features are deliberately stylized, not representative of any known creature, making the idol appear almost alien in its appearance. The deep cuts and carvings in the wood have been interpreted as symbols, though their meaning remains elusive. The complexity of the figure and its craftsmanship suggest a level of sophistication in prehistoric art that was previously thought to be impossible for a society of hunter-gatherers. What makes the Shigir Idol even more puzzling is the sheer amount of detail in its carvings. The figure is adorned with a series of geometric patterns, including spirals, crosses, and other motifs that are repeated throughout the idol. These designs are so intricate that they almost appear to tell a story or represent a language, yet no one has been able to decipher their meaning. The markings seem to suggest that the idol was not just a decorative object, but something much more significant, perhaps a symbol of power, a representation of deities, or even a form of communication. The idol's structure itself, with its segmented body and angular design, hints at a ritualistic or spiritual function, but its true purpose remains unknown. The Shigir Idol was not the only artifact found at the site. Researchers also unearthed fragments of other wooden carvings and tools, suggesting that this was a place of considerable significance for the people who once lived there. The fact that the idol was buried in a bog, preserved for thousands of years in the acidic, waterlogged soil, only adds to its mystique. Its very existence challenges what we thought we knew about the technology and spiritual life of prehistoric humans. How could a society that lived in such a harsh, unforgiving environment, without the benefits of metal tools or advanced technology, create such an intricate and lasting piece of art? At the time of its discovery, the Shigir Idol was recognized as an astonishing find. However, as researchers began to investigate further, a number of questions arose that would complicate its interpretation. Why was the idol buried so deep in the bog? Was it a ritual offering, left in the earth as part of a sacred ceremony, or was it abandoned for some other reason? And what was its true purpose? Was it a representation of a god or spirit, a guardian of some sacred place, or a record of ancient beliefs that have since been lost to time? One of the most striking aspects of the Shigir Idol is the absence of any clear connection to other known cultures of the time. While prehistoric art has been found across the globe, particularly in Europe, Asia, and the Americas, the Shigir Idol stands apart due to its unique combination of size, complexity, and the symbolic nature of its carvings. It is unlike anything found in contemporary societies of the late Paleolithic era. Could the people who created it have been influenced by a distant culture, one whose art and beliefs have since been forgotten? Or could the idol represent a completely independent and previously unknown tradition? Theories abound as to the idol's significance. Some archaeologists have suggested that it might represent an early form of totemism, a belief system in which animals, plants, or inanimate objects are considered to have spiritual significance. The idol's human-like features and the abstract designs on its surface could be seen as representations of such spirits or deities, but there is no consensus on what these symbols mean, or even if they represent something spiritual at all. Others have speculated that the Shigir Idol may have been a map or an offering, a sacred object buried to honor the spirits of the land or to appease the forces of nature. Interestingly, some scholars have noted the striking resemblance between the Shigir Idol's geometric patterns and those found in ancient cultures across the world. Could the design elements of the idol suggest a form of communication, perhaps a pre-writing system, that could offer clues to the worldview of the people who created it? If so, we might be looking at a lost language, a form of expression that predates written history by thousands of years. Or perhaps the idol is simply an enigmatic artifact, a piece of art and mystery left behind by an ancient people whose lives and beliefs we can never fully understand. Another layer to the mystery is the idol's preservation. How did it survive for so long? The bog in which it was found, though ideal for preservation, is a relatively harsh environment that would have broken down most organic materials over time. And yet, the Shigir Idol endured. Some researchers suggest that the idol's size and depth of burial may have played a role in its preservation. But why, one might ask, was such a grand and significant artifact buried in such a way? What could have prompted its creators to consign this powerful symbol to the earth, possibly for eternity? As the mystery of the Shigir Idol continues to unfold, the questions it raises only multiply. Its carvings, its symbolism, its very presence in the remote wilds of Russia all point to a culture far more complex than we often assume for prehistoric peoples. Was it a work of art or a spiritual object? Was it a relic of an early religion or a monumental step in the evolution of human thought? And what could the geometric patterns and markings reveal about the minds of those who lived so long ago? Like so many archaeological mysteries, the Shigir Idol offers more questions than answers. Yet, it remains a tantalizing reminder of how much there is still to uncover about the past. What lies beneath the surface of this enigmatic artifact? What truths are buried in its ancient carvings, waiting to be discovered? As we continue to investigate this remarkable find, we are left to wonder, what other secrets from the depths of time have yet to be revealed? High above the Andean city of Cusco, Peru, lies an archaeological wonder that has baffled scholars and captivated visitors for centuries. The megalithic walls of Sacsayhuamán. Towering over the valley, these colossal stones, meticulously crafted and precisely fitted, stand as silent witnesses to a civilization long gone. Yet, despite the many theories surrounding their origin and purpose, the true nature of these stones remains an enduring mystery. The Sacsayhuamán site consists of massive walls, some reaching over 6 meters, 20 feet in height, and extending several hundred meters in length. The stones themselves vary in size, with the largest weighing an estimated 120 tons. Each block, seemingly impossibly heavy, has been shaped and placed with such precision that not even a single blade of grass can slip between the joints. To modern eyes, the craftsmanship is awe-inspiring, so perfect that it is often difficult to understand how these immense stones were transported and assembled without the technology we possess today. What sets Sacsayhuamán apart from other ancient structures is not just the sheer size of its stones, but the precision with which they were carved. Many of the stones are cut in such a way that they interlock with one another, like a giant jigsaw puzzle. The joints are so tight that no mortar was needed to hold the stones in place. This remarkable engineering feat raises several questions. How were these massive stones quarried, transported, and shaped? And perhaps most perplexing of all, who possessed the knowledge and skill to build such an intricate, towering structure? Mainstream explanations tend to credit the Inca, the powerful empire that dominated much of South America before the Spanish conquest in the 16th century. The Incas, renowned for their advanced agricultural, engineering, and architectural abilities, are often thought to have built the walls of Sacsayhuamán as part of a ceremonial complex or fortification. However, while the Incas certainly mastered the art of stone construction, some aspects of the site's construction seem to defy explanation within the traditional framework of Inca technology. One of the most widely accepted theories holds that the Inca used rudimentary tools, such as bronze hammers and copper chisels, to shape the stones. Yet, despite the strength of these tools, it seems unlikely that such rudimentary implements could have worked the hard granite and limestone blocks with such precision. How could the Incas, without access to iron or steel, have carved, shaped, and transported stones that weigh up to 120 tons? Was there a hidden knowledge lost to history, a secret technique or tool that could explain how these incredible feats of engineering were achieved? As if the sheer scale of the stones and the precision of their fit were not enough, there are other aspects of Sacsayhuamán that raise more questions than answers. For instance, the alignment of the walls seems to have a celestial significance, with certain structures and gates appearing to align with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Some researchers believe the site may have served not only as a fortification, but as a place of astronomical observation, a cosmic temple meant to connect the Inca people with their gods. The massive stones may have been intentionally placed to reflect an understanding of celestial cycles, suggesting that the people who built Sacsayhuamán had a far more advanced knowledge of the stars than previously believed. Moreover, certain features of the site hint at the possibility of a much older civilization than the Inca. Some scholars have suggested that the stonework at Sacsayhuamán may have been the work of an earlier, unknown culture, possibly predating the Inca by several millennia. This theory is supported by the fact that the walls of Sacsayhuamán show signs of erosion that would take thousands of years to develop. Could this mean that the walls were built long before the Incas, and that the Inca simply inherited and repurposed the site for their own purposes? The possibility that Sacsayhuamán might represent the remains of a much older civilization is further bolstered by the presence of other megalithic sites in the region, such as Ollantaytambo and Machu Picchu, where similarly large stones have been incorporated into Inca architecture. These sites, along with Sacsayhuamán, seem to point toward a network of ancient stone structures that stretch far beyond the Incas' own known history. Could these structures represent remnants of a lost civilization, one whose knowledge and capabilities were so advanced that they have been almost completely erased from history? Another theory proposes that the stones were not quarried and shaped with tools at all, but were instead somehow molded in place using an unknown technique. Proponents of this idea suggest that the Inca, or even an older civilization, may have possessed a lost form of technology that allowed them to shape and manipulate stone with methods that we can scarcely imagine. The idea of stone molding, or the use of some form of chemical or heat-based process to manipulate the stones, is speculative but nonetheless intriguing. Could ancient builders have had access to technologies that have since been lost, leaving behind only the faintest traces of their existence? As with many other megalithic sites, the mystery of Sacsayhuamán raises the question of the role of ancient civilizations in shaping the world we know today. The precision, the scale, and the astronomical alignments all point to a level of understanding that seems far beyond what should have been possible for ancient peoples, especially with the tools they were believed to have. And yet, the evidence is before us. The stones of Sacsayhuamán, standing strong after thousands of years, remain one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. Who built Sacsayhuamán, and how? Was it the Inca, or did an even more ancient civilization leave its mark on the site? The incredible skill and knowledge embedded in the construction of these walls continue to elude us. Whether these ancient people were master engineers, astronomers, or something else entirely, their work remains a testament to a past that is still, in many ways, beyond our understanding. The stones of Sacsayhuamán may be silent, but their mystery is as loud as ever, and as we peer into the ancient past, we are left to wonder what other secrets may yet be waiting to be uncovered. Nestled within the quiet hills of London, Texas, a discovery was made in 1936 that would defy the conventional understanding of history. What appeared to be an ordinary hammer, nothing more than a simple tool, was found embedded in rock, and the implications of its discovery would soon send ripples through the field of archaeology and beyond. The so-called London hammer would become one of the most mysterious artifacts in the history of paleontological studies, raising questions about the timeline of human civilization and perhaps the very nature of time itself. The hammer was found by a local couple, Max and Emma Hahn, while they were collecting rocks near a creek bed. Buried within a chunk of limestone, the hammer was partly exposed, its wooden handle clearly visible, preserved within the hard rock as if it had been frozen in time. Upon closer inspection, the couple discovered that the hammer's head was made of metal, an alloy resembling a type of iron. The handle, though partially decayed, still bore the markings of craftsmanship: fine woodwork, smooth and fitted perfectly to the metal head. The moment they removed the hammer from the rock, the questions began. How could an object so clearly resembling a modern tool, an object unmistakably man-made, be found in a formation that was millions of years old? The limestone in which it was embedded was dated to be approximately 100 million years old from the Cretaceous period. Yet, the hammer appeared to be an artifact from the 19th century or earlier, with a design not out of place in any modern tool shed. If this hammer truly belonged to the time period in which it was found, it would suggest a timeline of human existence that challenged everything we know about our ancient past. At first, the hammer's discovery was treated with skepticism. mainstream scientists were quick to dismiss it as a hoax. After all, a human-made artifact appearing in rock that predates humanity by millions of years seemed impossible. Could it be that the hammer had somehow been misplaced in the geological strata, perhaps dropped by a worker or a visitor during the excavation of the site? But the more the hammer was studied, the stranger it became. Its construction was consistent with a tool that could not have existed in the time of the dinosaurs, its wooden handle still largely intact, and its head made of a complex alloy that would not be technologically feasible until much later in human history. Despite the doubts cast by mainstream academia, a few independent researchers were drawn to the mystery. Some suggested that the hammer could be a relic of an unknown advanced civilization, one that existed long before the accepted timeline of human development. This theory posits that ancient, prehistorical civilizations with advanced technology might have once thrived on Earth, only to be wiped out in an event that we can only speculate about. Could this hammer be a vestige of such a civilization? Could it be that humanity, or some form of human-like intelligence, existed long before the first recorded civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, or the Indus Valley? Another theory revolves around the possibility that the hammer is much more recent than it appears, perhaps a misplaced tool from the early European settlers who arrived in North America. However, this theory raises a number of complications. For one, the hammer is much more rusted than tools of its time should be, considering the relatively short span of human habitation in the region. Additionally, the wooden handle of the hammer was preserved, which would be highly unusual for a tool left exposed to the elements for centuries. Such preservation might imply that the hammer was sealed in rock soon after its creation. Could the hammer be the result of some natural process? An artifact that somehow grew into the rock over time? Could geological forces have shaped and surrounded the hammer with limestone in such a way that it gave the illusion of age? Though theories like this attempt to reconcile the hammer's presence with more accepted views of history, they still fail to answer the core question. How could a modern-looking hammer, with a wood handle and iron alloy head, find itself embedded in rock that formed millions of years ago? As researchers have continued to study the London hammer, the theories surrounding it only multiply. Some have suggested that it is a deliberate artifact left by a time traveler, while others have speculated that it may be an ancient tool from a civilization that predates known history by an unimaginable length. Perhaps it is something even stranger, a symbol of a long-lost people, one whose legacy has been concealed by time itself. Could the hammer be evidence of a forgotten history, a link to a past that modern archaeology has yet to uncover? In any case, the mystery of the London hammer remains unresolved. The hammer, now a relic of curiosity and wonder, continues to raise more questions than it answers. Was it left behind by an ancient civilization, or dropped by an explorer from another time? How could a modern object be encased in rock millions of years old without breaking the accepted laws of history and geology? While the hammer's true origins remain shrouded in mystery, it continues to beckon us toward the possibility that there are ancient truths waiting to be discovered. Truths that may forever change our understanding of human history and the depths of time itself. The London hammer remains a tantalizing enigma. It reminds us that history, like the layers of rock in which it is buried, holds secrets, some waiting to be discovered, others that may never fully reveal themselves. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of our past, the hammer stands as a symbol of the unknown, a relic of a time and place that may hold answers we are not yet ready to uncover. Deep in the heart of Virginia, nestled within the small town of Petersburg, a discovery was made in the 1930s that would leave archaeologists and historians scratching their heads. The object in question, now known as the Petersburg Stone, has been the subject of intrigue and speculation for decades. Though its physical form is unassuming, its significance lies not in its size, but in the mysterious inscription etched into its surface. The stone has been referred to as one of the most enigmatic artifacts in North America, and the questions surrounding it remain as puzzling as ever. The Petersburg Stone is a modest slab of reddish sandstone, measuring about 12 inches by 18 inches. At first glance, it could easily be mistaken for an ordinary rock lying among others in the natural landscape. However, what sets this particular stone apart is the series of curious markings it bears. These markings are not random. They resemble an intricate series of symbols that appear to be an early form of writing, one that, despite extensive study, has yet to be deciphered. The inscriptions are unlike anything seen in the indigenous writing systems of North America, and the style does not match known European or African scripts from the time the stone is believed to have been created. The discovery of the Petersburg Stone occurred when a local resident, while digging a well in 1934, unearthed the artifact along with a series of other tools and objects, seemingly out of place in the context of their surroundings. The stone, upon further examination, was found to be positioned on top of a layer of undisturbed soil, leading many to believe it had been intentionally placed there. The peculiar markings were soon identified as being more than just a form of decoration. They appeared to represent something meaningful. Could this stone be a message? If so, who was it directed to, and what was the language or script used? Experts in ancient languages have had difficulty categorizing the writing on the stone. Some have posited that the symbols resemble forms of Old World scripts, suggesting the possibility of ancient contact between North America and far-off civilizations. One of the more intriguing possibilities is that the stone's inscriptions could be related to an ancient form of Egyptian writing, which raises the question: could there have been transoceanic contact long before the voyages of Columbus, as some fringe theories propose? The idea of early Egyptians reaching the Americas has long been a topic of debate, but the discovery of such a stone offers tantalizing possibilities. However, mainstream archaeology largely rejects the theory of pre-Columbian transoceanic contact, favoring more conventional explanations. One explanation is that the stone might be a hoax, either a deliberate attempt to deceive or an unintentional artifact left by early European settlers, who might have used rudimentary tools to carve symbols onto local stones. But the craftsmanship of the carvings and the precise placement of the stone within the strata of the earth suggests that it was intentionally created and set in place with care. Could it have been a ritual object, perhaps linked to a long-forgotten culture or belief system, the origins of which remain obscure? Some researchers argue that the stone could be a remnant of an ancient indigenous culture, one whose knowledge and practices were lost to history. The native peoples of North America have long been known to possess advanced astronomical knowledge and complex oral traditions, and it's possible that the Petersburg Stone could represent an aspect of their symbolic or religious practices. The symbols could be a form of storytelling, a coded message meant to preserve important knowledge for future generations. But the fact that the markings do not resemble any known indigenous script or art style complicates this theory, leaving more questions than answers. The mystery deepens when considering the context of the discovery. The stone was found alongside a collection of objects that also appear out of place. Some of the items suggest a level of craftsmanship and technology that doesn't quite align with the time periods we associate with early indigenous groups or European settlers. There were stone tools, pottery, and even some artifacts that appeared to be of an iron-like material. These items, when studied together, seem to hint at a possibility of contact, exchange, or even coexistence between peoples from different parts of the world long before the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Yet, no conclusive evidence has surfaced to support any theory, and the Petersburg Stone remains largely isolated in its mystery. Its discovery has inspired numerous speculative theories, but it remains an enigma, a symbol of something larger and older, something that continues to elude our grasp. Was it a relic of an ancient civilization that predated both the indigenous cultures of the Americas and the early European settlers? Or was it created by a culture whose existence we have yet to uncover? The markings on the stone may never be fully deciphered, but the questions they raise continue to linger. How many other artifacts, hidden in the soil of the earth, carry the secrets of lost civilizations waiting to be uncovered? The Petersburg Stone, like many other archaeological mysteries, suggests that our understanding of history may be far from complete. In the silence of the stone's mysterious inscriptions, one is left to wonder, what hidden knowledge might still be waiting, buried beneath layers of time, waiting for the right moment to be understood? Deep in the jungles of Costa Rica, near the Diqui River Delta, a strange and enigmatic collection of stone spheres lies scattered across the landscape. These meticulously crafted objects, known as the stone spheres of Costa Rica, have fascinated archaeologists, historians, and explorers alike for decades. Some are small enough to be carried by a person, while others are monumental in size, reaching up to 2.5 meters in diameter and weighing several tons. Yet, what truly sets these spheres apart is not their sheer size or number, but the mystery surrounding their purpose and origin. The stones are found in clusters, some nestled into the earth, while others sit precariously on the surface, as though they've been placed there with intention. They are perfectly spherical, eerily so, crafted with such precision that they appear almost unnatural, as if designed with tools far beyond the capabilities of ancient cultures. The smooth, polished surfaces of the spheres seem to reflect the sunlight in a way that suggests they were deliberately shaped, and their uniformity, almost impossible to replicate using primitive tools, raises questions about the methods used to create them. These remarkable objects were first discovered in the 1930s by workers clearing land for a banana plantation. Since then, hundreds of these spheres have been uncovered, though it is believed that many may have been destroyed over the years due to agricultural expansion. Despite the discovery of such a large number of these stones, little is known about the people who created them or the purpose they served. The spheres are typically made of granite, a hard material that would have required advanced techniques to carve, yet no evidence of the tools or processes used to create them has been found. How did the creators of these spheres achieve such precision in their work? And why did they go to such great lengths to create these enigmatic objects in the first place? Mainstream archaeologists suggest that the stone spheres were created by the indigenous Diqui culture who lived in the region before the Spanish arrived. This theory posits that the spheres were used as markers or symbols of status, perhaps linked to ceremonial or religious practices. Some have even speculated that they were used as a form of astronomical observation, aligned with the movements of the stars or celestial bodies, much like the ancient structures of the Maya or the Egyptians. However, no definitive evidence has been uncovered to support this theory, leaving room for alternative explanations. One intriguing possibility is that the spheres were created as a form of ancient technology. Some researchers have suggested that they could have been used for something entirely unexpected, such as a mechanism for harnessing energy or power. The precision with which the spheres were crafted could imply that they were more than just decorative objects. Could they have been intended for some form of practical use, perhaps unknown to us today? Could these objects have served a purpose that is completely outside of our current understanding of ancient cultures? More speculative theories have suggested that the spheres are relics of a lost civilization, one far older than the Diqui culture, with technology that far surpassed anything we can imagine. These theories argue that the spheres might have been created by an ancient race, possibly even extraterrestrial beings, whose advanced knowledge of engineering and stoneworking allowed them to produce objects that seem inexplicable by modern standards. While such ideas may seem far-fetched, they continue to captivate the imaginations of those who study the spheres, especially when considering their perfect shape and the almost mystical precision involved in their creation. Some researchers also point to the connection between the spheres and the natural world. The idea that these stones may have had a deeper spiritual or symbolic meaning has been a recurring theme in various theories. The Dikis people may have imbued the spheres with meaning, associating them with cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Their alignment in certain clusters suggests that the spheres could have been placed intentionally to mark important locations or events. Could they have been part of a larger cosmological system, where the spheres represented the forces of the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon in some form of ceremonial calendar? The existence of the spheres in such a remote and inaccessible location also raises another question. How did the ancient people of the region transport such heavy and precise objects? The largest spheres weigh over 16 tons, yet there are no records of the tools or methods used to move them. This gap in knowledge only deepens the mystery surrounding the stone spheres, suggesting that the people who created them possessed skills and knowledge that were far more advanced than we give them credit for. Despite the many theories proposed, the true purpose and meaning of the stone spheres of Costa Rica remain elusive. Some believe that they may be pieces of a puzzle, a clue left behind by a civilization whose knowledge and purpose were lost to time. Others wonder whether these spheres were not just the work of a single people, but the result of ancient, interwoven cultures that shared knowledge across vast distances. As the jungle slowly reclaims the land, and more spheres continue to be uncovered, one thing is clear. The stone spheres of Costa Rica remain one of the most captivating archaeological mysteries in the world. Each perfectly round stone invites further inquiry and reflection, prompting us to question the ancient past and the stories we have yet to fully uncover. The mystery of the stone spheres is far from solved. Could they be the remnants of an ancient technology, a forgotten symbol of cosmic significance, or the remains of a lost civilization? As we continue to study and explore their meaning, we are reminded that the past is not always as we imagine it to be, and that some mysteries, perhaps, will remain unsolved, hidden beneath the earth for as long as we continue to search. Amid the misty landscapes of northern France, in the region of Brittany, an ancient mystery stands frozen in time. Hundreds of stone structures, known as dolmens, dot the countryside like silent sentinels from a forgotten age. These towering megalithic monuments, some of which date back as far as 4,000 years, are a testament to the ingenuity of the people who built them, but they also remain one of the most perplexing archaeological enigmas in Europe. The Dolmens of Brittany are striking in their simplicity and scale. Typically, a dolmen consists of several large vertical stones, called orthostats, that support a massive horizontal slab, known as the capstone. Together, they form a structure that, at first glance, might seem crude. Yet, these megalithic tombs, often resembling immense tables or even primitive temples, are marvels of engineering. The stones used to construct them, in some cases, weigh several tons, and their exact positioning, so precise despite the lack of advanced tools, raises questions about the methods employed by the builders. Scattered across the Breton landscape, these dolmens are often found in remote, isolated areas, far from any major settlements. There are approximately 3,000 dolmens in Brittany alone, each with its own history and possible purpose. While many are thought to have served as tombs for the dead, the true reason behind their construction remains elusive. Were they simply burial sites for ancient peoples, or did they serve another, more complex function? The most widely accepted theory is that these dolmens were burial chambers, built to honor the dead and serve as a place for ancestors. According to this theory, the dolmens were part of a larger ceremonial landscape, designed to align with the sun, the moon, and the stars. Some dolmens appear to be oriented in such a way that they align with celestial events, such as the solstices. Could these structures have been used to track the movements of the stars or the changing of seasons, marking the passage of time in a way that is now lost to us. The alignment of certain dolmens with natural features, such as mountains or rivers, also suggests a deep connection to the landscape itself, one that may have had symbolic or spiritual significance. Yet, as with so many ancient structures, the mainstream explanations leave more questions than answers. Why were these dolmens built in such remote locations, far from the settled areas where their builders likely lived? Why were they constructed with such precision and care, using stones that were transported from miles away? The logistical challenges of such construction would have been immense, yet the dolmens stand as proof that these ancient people had the means and the knowledge to achieve what seems impossible by today's standards. This leads some researchers to consider alternative explanations, more speculative perhaps, but nonetheless intriguing. Could the dolmens have been used for purposes other than burial? Some have suggested that these structures may have had astronomical significance, functioning as early observatories for tracking celestial bodies or marking the passage of time in relation to the natural world. The precise alignment of certain dolmens with the solstices or lunar phases hints at a deeper understanding of the cosmos. Could the people who built these monuments have had advanced astronomical knowledge passed down through generations in ways that are now lost to history? Others point to the idea that the dolmens could have served as ritual sites where ceremonial practices or sacrifices were performed. These practices may have been tied to the belief in an afterlife or the veneration of ancestors, but the lack of written records or detailed accounts from the time leaves us to speculate. Were these places of power, imbued with spiritual energy, designed to connect the living with the world of the dead? Or were they, perhaps, something else entirely? In more fringe theories, some have proposed that the dolmens could have been constructed by ancient, lost civilizations far more advanced than we are led to believe. Could these megalithic structures be remnants of a forgotten people whose knowledge of engineering, astronomy, and construction techniques was far beyond what we now know? The very precision of the dolmens, the difficulty of their construction, and the choice of materials all suggest a level of expertise that seems out of place for the time. One of the most mysterious dolmens in Brittany is the Gavrinis tomb, located on an island in the Gulf of Morbihan. This dolmen, with its intricate carvings and precisely positioned stones, seems to go beyond the realm of simple tomb building. Its carvings include spirals, circles, and other geometric patterns that have been interpreted in various ways. Some researchers believe they may represent a form of early writing, while others view them as symbols of spiritual significance. Whatever their meaning, these carvings suggest that the builders of the dolmens had a complex and sophisticated belief system, one that continues to evade our understanding. The construction of these dolmens, with their sheer size and precise alignment, raises more questions than answers. How were the massive stones quarried and transported across the landscape? What tools did the builders use, and how did they manage to lift stones weighing several tons? Even with modern machinery, such feats would be difficult to replicate, which leaves us wondering, how could people without the technology we rely on today have accomplished such feats of engineering? Despite decades of research and exploration, the dolmens of Brittany continue to stand as an enduring mystery. Were they simply burial sites, or did they hold a much deeper meaning? The questions persist, as does the allure of these ancient monuments. In the silent shadows of the stones, we are reminded that, no matter how much we uncover about the past, there are still secrets waiting to be revealed. Secrets that may never fully be understood, but will continue to captivate the imagination of those who seek to unravel them. What lies hidden beneath the weight of the ancient stones? What knowledge remains buried, waiting for the right eyes to uncover it? The dolmens of Brittany may never reveal all their secrets, but their mystery remains as powerful as ever. Deep within the layers of ancient earth in the southwestern United States, an extraordinary artifact lies hidden in the fossilized soil, a small, intricate figurine known as the Nampa Figurine. Discovered in 1889 by a group of well diggers in Nampa, Idaho, this small clay effigy has baffled archaeologists and historians for over a century. It is both a curiosity and a mystery, challenging our understanding of the ancient world in ways we are still trying to comprehend. At first glance, the Nampa figurine might appear to be an ordinary relic, a delicate sculpture of a human-like figure, perhaps no more than 3 inches tall. The figurine has clearly defined arms, legs, and facial features. And while the details are primitive, they carry a sense of purpose and design that suggests the work of an experienced hand. The style, its form, and its craftsmanship all hint at an era long past. But there is one significant detail that makes the Nampa figurine a mystery: the stratum in which it was found. The figurine was uncovered in a well that had been dug 15 feet below the surface, in layers of soil that were believed to be millions of years old, long before humans were ever thought to have existed in North America. According to mainstream archaeological theory, the first human inhabitants of the Americas arrived no more than 15,000 years ago, at most. The strata in which the Nampa figurine was discovered, however, suggests a far older timeline, one that seemingly defies our understanding of human history. Mainstream explanations of the figurine's origins typically focus on the possibility of misinterpretation. Perhaps the figurine was accidentally mixed with older sediment during the well digging process, or perhaps it was simply placed deeper than originally thought. Archaeologists, eager to resolve the mystery, suggest that the figurine may have slipped down to lower strata in a much later time after its creation. This would account for its discovery in a layer far older than the supposed time of its creation. But such explanations seem to fall short when you consider the craftsmanship of the figurine. The Nampa figurine does not appear to be a crude, random object tossed carelessly into the earth. Its details, its symmetry, and its delicate features suggest a level of skill and intentionality that seems out of place for the supposed era in which it was buried. The idea that such a figurine was inadvertently dropped into much older sediment simply does not fully explain its form or its remarkable preservation. Could it be that the figure was made by a people who lived long before the officially recognized ancestors of Native Americans? Or could the figurine be the product of a forgotten civilization, lost to time and history? This leads some researchers to propose more speculative fringe theories. Could the Nampa figurine be evidence of an advanced, ancient civilization that predates our understanding of human history by thousands, perhaps even tens of thousands of years? Could this civilization have been so advanced that it left behind artifacts of such complexity and craftsmanship only for their existence to be obscured by the passage of time? Some have even suggested that the figurine could be evidence of an even older, unknown culture, lost beneath layers of earth and history, potentially one that predates not only modern humans, but also Homo sapiens themselves. More fascinating still is the possibility that the Nampa figurine was created by a people with knowledge and artistic abilities far beyond what was previously believed possible at such an early point in history. Could it be the work of a now forgotten people who possessed advanced technologies, or an understanding of art and sculpture that has since been lost? Or, perhaps more incredibly, could the figurine suggest the possibility of a global or transcontinental civilization long before the rise of known ancient cultures like those in Egypt, Mesopotamia, or the Americas? The mystery of the Nampa figurine also raises a broader question about the history of human civilization itself. How much of the past do we truly know, and how much has been lost, whether through natural disasters, cultural upheaval, or simply the erosion of time? If the Nampa figurine is indeed an artifact from a much older civilization, What else might be buried beneath the surface of the earth, waiting to be unearthed? Are there other traces of forgotten peoples, hidden in layers of sediment, waiting for the right tools, the right conditions, and the right time to reveal themselves? As with many ancient mysteries, the Nampa Figurine leaves us with more questions than answers. It challenges the conventional narrative of human history and forces us to reconsider what we know about the timeline of human development. Could it be the last remaining trace of a lost world, a glimpse into the distant past that still holds secrets we are not yet ready to understand? In the quiet stillness of the dig site in Nampa, the figurine lies hidden, its origins unresolved. What it represents, and where it truly comes from, remain unanswered. Yet its mystery endures. A reminder that there is still so much we do not know about our distant past, and that, in the pursuit of understanding, some mysteries may never be fully solved.